Amidst the colorful foliage in central New York, a remodeled Carrier Dome, devoid of fans but still full of anticipation for a potentially explosive ACC matchup between the Deacs and the Orange. One look at the ACC standings will tell you how important this game is for Wake Forest. Still 2 losses in conference play, so still very much alive in the race for that final spot in the ACC championship game, which was announced earlier this week to be played on December 19th. Wake Forest taking the field. Syracuse coming up next. I'm Chris Cotter alongside Mark Hertzlich and Kelsey Riggs. And the Syracuse team looking to build on what was an impressive loss, if you will, last week at Death Valley. Mark, this Wake Forest team, they still put points on the board with a unique offense.
Yeah, Dave Clawson brought over this basically ride and decide offense from Bowling Green when he came to Wake Forest. And it is so effective, and it's on the back of 2, yes, it's Halloween, scary running backs in Kenneth Walker and Christian Beal-Smith. Both these guys are fantastic. They are 6th in the nation in rushing touchdowns with 15. It's going to be a tough task for Syracuse to stop, and Syracuse has had some struggles as of late. This entire 2020 season has been hard for Dino Babers. It started with some opt-outs. Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard, their 2 top running backs, decided to opt out before the season. And then Andre Sisco, after he got hurt, he also decided to opt out and has set his sights on the NFL. They lost to Duke, and then their tough loss to an FCS team in Liberty. But then last week, yes, it was still a loss, but when you only lose by 26 points, when you are a 46.5 point underdog, it's not a bad loss. And so it's trending up a little bit on this Syracuse team.
Yeah, looking to build a little momentum coming off of that loss on the road to the #1 team in the country, Mark. And they do still have some player personnel issues. For more on those, let's send it down to Kelsey Riggs on the field.
Well, Mark mentioned it. The story of this team has unfortunately for Syracuse been a lot of opt-outs and a lot of injuries, and there are more of those today. Syracuse will be without their starting running back, Sean Tucker. That's notable because they're also without their normal starting quarterback, Tommy DeVito. Rex Culpepper is now the guy for Syracuse. Also on defense, no safety, Trill Williams. And Mark, you mentioned they were already without one of their all-star safeties, so that's notable. Now, the good news for Syracuse is Taj Harris, their star wide receiver. He is dressed out on the sidelines. He missed last week due to disciplinary actions, but he is dressed out this week. He leads the ACC in receiving yards. And Chris and Mark, even though he missed last week's game, 2nd in the ACC with 4 touchdowns. So hopefully he'll be able to give them a burst.
Yeah, thanks, Kels. And Mark, that could be important because you got to think Syracuse is going to need some explosive plays, and they're going to have to put points on the board to go toe-to-toe with this offense.
Yeah, they are. They're going to have to air the ball out. I mean, when Syracuse is at its best, it's throwing balls downfield. They have so much production out of Taj Harris, who again is healthy again. Then Nykeem Johnson had a big day versus Clemson last week, a real speedster out of the slot. And Anthony Quealy, the wide receiver, has developed more in the absence of Taj Harris. So those big 3 wide receivers for Syracuse are going to be Rex Culpepper's main targets.
Saw Dino Babers there getting his Syracuse team fired up. They had a lot of personnel issues. We spoke to him earlier in the week, still very upbeat, and an opportunity to get young players some playing time, which certainly could bode well for the Orange down the road. And it's the same you could say for Wake Forest. We'll chronicle several true freshmen that are contributing, especially on the defensive side of the ball for the Demon Deacons. Syracuse won the toss, and they deferred to the second half as we get set to go here inside the Carrier Dome. Nolan Cooney puts toe to leather, and we are underway. This one will sail into the end zone, and Wake Forest will take over from their own 25, and an opportunity to see Sam Hartman, who started 9 games, Mark, as a true freshman. Jamie Newman beat him out last year at that starting spot, but Hartman brings a lot of experience to the table for Wake Forest.
Yeah, you mentioned the 9 games he played as a true freshman. You know, he went in there and he won that job. He won the job over Jamie Newman. Then he broke his leg after 9 games and then eventually lost that battle to Jamie Newman the next year. But Sam Hartman, you know, although he's only a redshirt sophomore, you know, you mentioned the other day, he plays like a seasoned veteran on this offense.
Christian Beal-Smith with the carry right into that Syracuse defense. Give him about 3 yards before Kingsley Jonathan is there to bring him down.
Yeah, we mentioned Christian Beal-Smith in the open, and just how effective he's been as a runner. And really, they're just riding the hot hand, whether it's Beal Smith or Walker. They'll kind of decide after the first quarter who will get the most reps throughout the game.
Beal Smith put on a lot of weight in the offseason too to give him that extra thump. Now looking to find a crease, finds a little bit of a hole, gets close to the sticks, but not quite there. 3rd down and 1 coming up.
Yeah, I think he put on good weight. I put on a lot of weight in the offseason too, Chris, and the 20 pounds that I put on, they don't look a lot like Christian Beal Smith's 20 pounds, and mine are not even close to as useful.
No question. We all wish we came out of COVID looking more like Christian Beal Smith. Not quite the case, but Syracuse defense looking to get off the field here, looking to pass. And flushed out of the pocket is Hartman. Now he dumps it off, and Beal Smith does pick up the 1st down.
Yeah, a little underhand flick from Sam Hartman, but it's a versatile offense. Drop back, no one's open. Great coverage by Syracuse on the back end, playing a little zone, 3-deep zone, and no one's accounting for that little check down. Good job by Beal Smith.
Hartman off the mesh. Tried to get it to his receiver Donovan Green, and it was well covered that time by Ife Melifonwu.
Gosh, Melifonwu was such a good player. He's probably one of the biggest cornerbacks in the ACC, 6'3", 215. And it's been so good for him to be physical at the line of scrimmage with wide receivers. Good job on that slant route, getting his hands on the receiver early.
Beal Smith just trying to find somewhere to run, and he does pick up good yardage after being bottled up initially. There was that mesh point again, Mark. It takes forever for them to hand the ball off.
I remember the first time I watched this offense in action, I was like, wait, what is happening? What is going on right now? Why is this taking so long to develop? And they're so good at it because they run it so often in practice, and sets up 3rd and 6, which is a fantastic down and distance to pick up.
They have plenty of time, and they do pick it up and get into Syracuse territory. Roberson with a nice gain after the catch, and it'll be 1st down for the Deacs. Their first offensive possession now gets it into Orange territory.
Yeah, again, 1st down run, 2nd down run, and then you just get that 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5, 3rd and 4, and you can have these stop routes on the outside of these wide receivers. And we're used to seeing a Chaz Surratt, Scotty Washington, the big play threats on the outside, but those guys are no longer here. No Kendall Hinton, so now it's Roberson and Donovan Green, and these guys are playing well so far.
Beal Smith, look at him just carry tacklers for another 1st down. Big chunk yardage for the Deacs.
Yeah, and you'll get a lot of that out of Christian Beal Smith. He's that type of guy who's going to run up the middle. Kenneth Walker will bounce out a little bit more to the outside, try to find a gap on the edge, but Beal Smith is great in terms of his patience and letting those holes develop.
Hartman now faking to the outside, all kinds of time. He can tuck it and run, and he'll do that right here before sliding, picking up what he can on 1st down. Added dimension of him being able to run the ball. And that's what makes this offense work. It worked so well with Jamie Newman last year. Hartman not as athletic as Newman, but still capable. Look at that mesh right there. Beal Smith now gets a lot of room to roam inside the 20 before being shoved out of bounds by Jihad Carter, but not after picking up another 1st down.
Yeah, and they're doing it a lot on the ground. They're passing when have to, but watch this mesh point. 1, 2, 3 seconds, and it just allows these offensive linemen to lay on their blocks and let the defense kind of sort itself out. Whoever comes to you as an offensive lineman, you block that guy, and the back will make you right.
Beal Smith again just crashes up the middle, picking up good yardage on 1st down. Mark, I imagine it also allows the running back to survey the defense and find that crack and that little bit of a seam like Beal Smith did on the play before this one.
Yeah, we talked to Warren Ruggiero, their offensive coordinator, said, do you do any drills to help these guys' vision? And he said, we just run this thousands and thousands of times, and they pick it up eventually as it goes along.
Quick pass out to his receiver Roberson. Short gain on the play. They'll bring up 3rd down for Wake Forest.
Yeah, 3rd and 5, and Wake Forest has been so phenomenal in the red zone, not settling for field goals, scoring touchdowns at a 92% rate.
Hartman now pocket collapses, and he's going to get brought down. Initially, Terrell Richards was there, joined by his teammates. Big sack for Syracuse.
Yeah, Terrell Richards, you see on the back, the We Matter. Fantastic in terms of Unity Week, in terms of recognition. But watch Terrell Richards, just too long. I got to say, the back-end coverage for Syracuse on this drive has been fantastic. Sam Hartman has had nowhere to go with the football when he has dropped back to pass. And we saw that 92% touchdown rate in the red zone. Fantastic job by Syracuse and Tony White's defense to hold them to 3 points.
Nick Skiba attempt from 33 yards. Both these kickers are outstanding, and Skiba knocks it straight through the uprights. Wake Forest takes the opening kickoff, marches downfield. They have to settle for a 33-yard field goal, but Skiba splits the uprights, dekes up 3-0 here early in the Carrier Dome. Demon Deacons convert on a field goal after a 13-play, 60-yard drive to open up this game here inside the Carrier Dome. Up top, Syracuse 3-0. There's Coach Clausen, Dave Clausen, in his 7th season in Winston-Salem, taking this Deacon team to 4 straight bowl games. He's won 3 of them. Now they're at a point in time where they expect to go bowling, and they're on their way this year, off to a good start. Jack Crane kicks off for Wake Forest. And an opportunity for a return for Syracuse. That's Nakeem Johnson. Mark mentioned earlier, had a big return last weekend, takes it out to the 27-yard line. Our first opportunity to see this Syracuse offense, and quite the character, Mark, at quarterback, Rex Culpepper.
Ooh, Rex Culpepper. For all of you NFL fans out there who are familiar with Gardner Minshew, I believe that Rex Culpepper is pretty much the Gardner Minshew of college football. He's got good, awesome hair. He rides a dirt bike. He wears cut-off jeans. I mean, plays the guitar. I mean, this guy, we'll get to what he does on the football field later, but this guy is a character. He's fantastic, and he's stepped in for the hurt Tommy DeVito and played pretty well.
I love the rides a dirt bike like Kelly Leak.
It's important. It's an important statistic.
Hero. Syracuse tries to get the run game going early. Kels mentioned at the top, Sean Tucker, who really emerged as their top back a couple of games into the year, that Georgia Tech game. He's out today, so both Cooper Lutz and Markenzie Pierre will shoulder the load for Syracuse, and Cooper Lutz is an interesting story too. Had offers from Columbia, Army, and Navy, and ended up coming to Syracuse. Culpepper quickly out in the flat. Brought in by Anthony Quealy, and it'll bring up 3rd down and short.
Talk about Cooper Lutz, the running back who started out this game. He started as a wide receiver when he got to Syracuse, and then they said, okay, well, we got a lot of wide receivers. Why don't you play defensive back? So he played DB, and then with all the running backs opting out, they're like, okay, well, why don't you just go play some running back? And now you see him starting this game, and he's been productive. He's a guy who has been reliable, hasn't fumbled the ball. He's a strong kid, and he's been an added bonus for the Syracuse offense.
Culpepper quickly has Johnson, who makes a nice catch, flag down on the play. Johnson with a nice over-the-shoulder grab. That would be a 1st down if it stands.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a legal pick on the offense. Little rub route.
Pass interference. Offense number 19. It's a 15-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Good call, Mark. That's Mike Roach, our referee for today. Big penalty on 3rd down. It's a Syracuse team, Mark, that has struggled mightily on 3rd down this year. 96th in the country coming in.
Yeah, that's not good. And remember, there's only 101 teams playing right now, so 96th is really far down there. But it's a good play design. They're running a little slant flat route. Sherrod Johnson's coming in from the slant on the outside, and Anthony Quealy's going to the flat, Nakeem Johnson. But you just got to execute better. And I think that was one of the things we talked to Dino Babers about. He said, look, we just need to execute better. We make plays. We do this, but we shoot ourselves in the foot and get big penalties like this, setting up 3rd and 20.
Yeah, 3rd and 20 from their own 15. Culpepper's going to try and pick it up right up the middle. That was almost as good as a punt, which is what we'll see right now, is plenty of coverage by the Deeks on the back end, including true freshman, former walk-on Nick Anderson.
Yeah, and 3 and out really, not what you want to see. or short drives from Syracuse. They only average 19.8 yards per drive, which is last in the nation of teams with greater than one games, of teams that have played more than one game. So they are used to this kind of short drives, and then they have big plays. It's 3 and out, it's 4 plays and out, and then it's a big play downfield to their wide receivers, and that's kind of the way this offense has worked all year.
Nolan Cooney with a nice kick. Fair catch made by Morin after a 51-yard kick. Wake Forest up 3. We'll get to see this off.
Back out to Syracuse, Wake Forest with a 3-0 lead, and it is Unity Week right here all throughout the ACC. We saw the teams before the game come, link arms and stand in the fight for social justice. Both of these teams have really done a lot throughout this season so far. They both have helmet stickers on their helmets talking about different meanings, saying unity, that today is for Wake Forest. But I want to tell you guys also about their offensive lineman. His name is Loic Nagaisam Naya. He came from France to Cameroon and then immigrated to the U.S. when he was 7 years old. Both of these teams have really been pushing the voting initiative, and guess what? He got his citizenship last year and was able to vote, guys, for the first time. Really big deal.
Sam Hartman incomplete on first down. Yeah, it is a great story. Loic Nagaisam Naya coming over from Cameroon, getting to vote for the first time, taking part in our democratic process.
Yeah, it's so important too, and I think it's just just a fantastic thing. Just a well-rounded young man. He's fluent in French, obviously being born in France, and now speaks fluent English and can vote, and just taking advantage of that opportunity that he has been granted, I think, is fantastic.
Roberson with the catch for Wake on second down. It'll bring up third down. Naya also a lacrosse player, Mark, as you and I were talking about before. Imagine the dude, 6'3", 305 pounds. I need to ask him what position he played.
Yeah, I know, for real. If it was anything but goalie, watch out.
Hartman on third down. Nice catch going up the ladder by Roberson to convert.
Yeah, it really was a good job. And, Hartman he's just a poised passer. You see him in the pocket, he gets his step down, and he hits the top of his drop and doesn't panic. He lets the route develop, understands that there's absolutely no pressure on him at all, and completes a good ball downfield for first down.
The fake to Walker. Now Hartman's going to keep it. He has room, and he's got a blocker in front of him. Inside the 40, down near the 35 for a first down.
Yeah, it looked like a little bit of a broken play. Someone ran the wrong route, but sometimes when someone runs the wrong route and you have a big hole like that, you just go pick up the first down yourself. Really good job by Hartman, and it's just another dynamic that this offense has.
Hartman being flushed. Has time, though. You see his nimble footing, being able to just keep plays alive.
Yeah, and he kept that one alive, but I think he had Brandon Chapman earlier in the route. He was coming on a crossing route underneath, and he had him open. Just, there was pressure that time on quarterback's left side. Wasn't able to see it, and missed that open target. But you're right. He is fleet of foot back there in the pocket.
Yeah, Josh Black with the tip on that pass. Second down and 10 for the Deeks. Now the give is to Walker, and he's bottled up right at the line of scrimmage. Nowhere to go. Koba leading the charge for Syracuse. It'll bring up third and long. Got an injured Orange on the field. Let's see who this is. 97. That's Cody Roscoe. We'll take a quick break here, and we'll be back to check in on Roscoe when we come back. Just about midway through this first quarter in the Carrier Dome, Wake Forest up 3-0, driving on their second offensive possession, now facing a third down. Syracuse, like they did in the initial possession, Mark, kind of a bend, don't break defense, hoping to get off the field again on third.
Yeah, they are, and they got to play good coverage like they have so far in this game. Third and long.
Hartman, with just a three-man rush, has time and delivers to his receiver. I think he's going to be short of the first down. Maybe. Let's see where the officials mark this. Right at the sticks. Jihad Carter was there defending on the play. And it looks like it may bring up, well, we have fourth down on the screen. But it's going to be a first down. The officials did give him the first down without even having the measure.
And they're going fast to make sure it counts.
Yeah, not even thinking about it. As Walker just tiptoes behind the line of scrimmage to try and find a seam and picks up 4 yards when it looked like he had very little.
Yeah, it was a good throw and catch by Hartman to Jakari Roberson for that first down. Just set up right on the sticks. Good pass and catch. And I've been surprised that Syracuse hasn't brought more pressure early in this game, especially on those 3rd and longs. Of course, giving up a lot of sacks.
Looking to throw. He'll pull it down and get what he can. That's 3. 3rd down and 2 coming up for the Deeks. Once again in the red zone.
Look at just the coverage on the back end. I mean, everyone is covered, and he's going from his first read to his second read, and kind of by the time that happens, the offensive line will just naturally break down. But good job using his legs. 3rd and 2. You got to believe it's going to be right into side time.
There's Syracuse showing a little bit of pressure now. They ain't shy about coming. Tony White isn't shy about bringing the house.
No, he's not.
And they do come with pressure. Wake Forest trying to beat him with the run up the middle, and they do. Walker with a spin move at the end. Before Carter was able to bring him down, they convert yet another 3rd down into a first.
Asked Warren Ruggiero how he deals with pressure with his offensive line. He said, a lot of times what happens when you bring pressure is guys get out of the gap. They get in the wrong gap, and our running backs are good enough to be able to see that. You saw on that last play, I mean, you're right, Tony White brought the house, but Kenneth Walker was able to use his patience and just find that open lane to pick up the first down.
Extra blocker in the backfield. Walker up the middle, just the surge of that offensive line inside the 5 toward the goal line. His bodies were just being carried down to the 1, just outside the 1 for Walker.
How did he get that far down there? Good block, initial tackle missed by Mikel Jones, but he just kind of ducks and walks sideways down close to that 1 yard line. Just not going down. And he's got to wrap up and stop him, but testament to that big back Kenneth Walker.
First and goal for Wake Forest as they continue to dominate this first quarter. Walker crashes into the line and scores.
And I was about to say he's looking to get his 9th touchdown on the ground this year, and he just did that behind his big offensive line. But really good drive by Wake Forest. You see the offensive linemen just creating seams on the poles, and really good execution on this Warren Ruggiero offense for Wake Forest, and hopefully try to knock this one through, put them up 10 points.
Skiba with the PAT, 10-0, Wake Forest on top. Both scoring drives rather, 12 plays for Wake Forest as they have dominated time of possession, dominated total yards, and on the scoreboard so far with a 10-point lead here in the first quarter.
Yeah, they have dominated, and we talked about the 2 running backs in the beginning of the game. It's been them, but Sam Hartman has picked up a lot on the ground by himself, through the air, some couple good completions. Be interesting to see if they open it up and take some deep shots as this game goes along.
Syracuse defense now with Tony White trying to find some answers. Certainly would help. Offense would help if the offense could get a drive going here.
Yeah, it would. You talk about the Tony White defense. He came here from Arizona State, and he brought in a new 3-3-5 defense. They didn't run that in the past, but really, you need different bodies for 3-3-5, and they've started to develop Bear McKinley Williams at that nose guard. But that nose guard spot is so important, and it's important stopping that up the middle run game, because if you don't have big guys up front, it is tough in this 3-3-5 defense.
Touchback. Syracuse would take over from their 25. All right, coming up next, week 9 of the college football season rolls on. Virginia Tech taking on Louisville. Then at 8 o'clock, long-time rivalry, going all the way back to 1892. Virginia hosting North Carolina in Charlottesville. Our ACC primetime matchup presented by Geico. So still plenty of football to get to here today. We're just getting started on the ACC network.
400 years after Columbus sailed the ocean blue, 1892.
Culpepper out on the edge, and that time another one of those freshmen. You talk about Nick Anderson being a freshman, former walk-on at that safety spot for Wake Forest. Kalen Carson is a true freshman also, as you get to see right there on a cornerback spot on an island out there for Wake.
Yeah, and he came in early. He came to this program. I graduated early from high school, and he has been just being tutored day in and day out by Jasir Taylor, number 6, their captain and lead cornerback in the room. But he has developed nicely as a young player.
Out of the backfield, here's Lutz. Tripped up by Taylor, but a good pickup on second down, bringing up a third down, and Syracuse in need of converting here to keep that defense off the field, give them a little bit of a blow.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a huge third down for Syracuse, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a quick route on the outside. We've yet to see Taj Harris get the ball thrown his way.
Quickly outside, initially had that first down, and backtracking Quealy, but he was able to keep his feet, convert.
Quealy is an interesting story. With Taj Harris missing the game last week, he was the most targeted receiver, and they learned a lot about him. They said, yeah, we didn't really know a ton about this guy. He's a redshirt sophomore. Yes, he had played before, but he really excelled last week in the absence of Taj Harris, and you see a lot of targets going his way early in this game.
Well, it's just such a great story. Receiver, defensive back. Dino went to him and said, we need a running back. And so whatever you need, coach, I can do it. And he's actually filled in quite nicely. There you see him again on the receiving end. So very dynamic. They say he's very good in pass protection. Great hands, can use him out of the backfield.
And you see him tapping his head saying, I'm tired, I need to get out. He said, you better
nobody
stay in.
left.
We got nobody left. You got to get in there. You got to handle the working load today, young man.
Jet sweep, that's Johnson. Trying to use his wheels to get to the edge, and does. So a nice pickup for Syracuse, their best offensive drive of the afternoon so far. Another first down.
Yeah, I mean, Nykeem Johnson is fast. I mean, there's people that are fast, and then he is ridiculously fast. And if he finds any of those vertical seams along that defense, he is gone. So, good run by Nykeem Johnson, but good job by Wake Forest continuing to expand him to the sidelines. Sometimes you want to bottle in runs, but if you cannot do that, you push them all the way to the sideline and force them out.
Nick Anderson forced them out shy of the first down, so it's second down and short. Orange looking to get it done through the air, and they do. That's Courtney Jackson on the receiving end, and he picks up the first down before Jaquez Williams knocked him out of bounds.
Yeah, and Travion read this perfectly and went to go make that play, but good job breaking the tackle by Courtney Jackson and moving upfield, picking up the first down. And this is the type of offense that Syracuse wants to have. They don't have really their 4 top running backs that they thought they would have from the beginning of the season. And so you're seeing a lot of quick throws that basically simulate runs.
Fake to Markenzie Pierre in the game now. Wide open receiver on the outside. And Anderson did a great job of tracking down Johnson, or he might have taken it to the house. Got a flag on the play.
Personal foul, illegal block below the waist, offense number 87. It's a 15-yard penalty, first down.
Got the tight end Luke Benson on that call, and that's a costly penalty for Syracuse.
Yeah, you see Luke Benson on the left side of the line of scrimmage. He just goes underneath. Little cut block. I don't know. I guess it was cut block on a pass downfield, so that can be ruled illegal cut block. But I don't know. Didn't seem that bad to me. Usually they call illegal cut block when someone's blocking the defender up high, and he calls it chop block.
I'm surprised as a defensive player you wouldn't totally agree with that call. Going for your knees? Like Shamar McCollum got it right in the side of his knee.
got to protect your knee. I think, whenever you do a chop block coming from outside into the ball, they call that. They just don't usually call it when the tight end's lined up on the line of scrimmage.
Gotcha. Culpepper got what he could after deciding to tuck it. That's going to wrap it up for the first quarter. Quarter dominated by Wake Forest, but Syracuse is on the move. Can they put points on the board on this drive? Down 10-0. Second quarter coming up. Syracuse on the move as we start the second quarter. Rex Culpepper, he's been sharp today, 6 of 7 passing the ball, and on this drive they've actually been able to get something going offensively, give their defense a little bit of a breather. Colorful character, we talked about him at the top of the show. Just wondering who wore it better. Culpepper's got the mohawk on the left. The headband, though, I think for full effect, Mark, you need to lose that and maybe go with a little more eye black like you had.
Well, he took cues from me, and you see more eye black on his face right now. So he did learn that lesson, which sometimes you have to grow up in your own body, and you find your look. And for me, it's become mohawk and eye black, and for him, he's got the flow in the eye black. I love it. It just goes along with the adage of Rex Culpepper mania, Gardner Minshew mania.
Culpepper back to pass on 3rd and 19. Pressure comes, but he avoids it. Now going to the end zone into double coverage. Incomplete as both the defender and Quealy had an opportunity to pull down that football. Trey Rucker from the safety spot, though, with good coverage.
Yeah, it was close. Almost came down with that interception. Good play on the ball. The corner end zone. Fourth and 19. Can send it out and really threw into double coverage, and not a great throw. Could have led him a little bit more, but a really good job by Quealy coming back and playing defense on that ball, because that one could have been intercepted.
Cooney on the punt for Syracuse, looking to pin Wake Forest deep. Little coffin corner action, and does inside the 20. Let's see where the officials mark it. So a nice job by Cooney, giving a long field to this Syracuse defense. And it'll be 1st and 10 inside their 15 when we come back for the Deacs. First 2 possessions, now starting their 3rd from deep inside their own territory here early in the second quarter. Chris Cotter, Mark Hertzler, Kelsey Riggs with you on the ACC Network. Start of our triple header. Wake Forest with just 2 losses in conference play, still alive and needing a win on the road to keep that going. Hartman passes low, but brought in by his receiver. That looked like Gruel. It was. Great name on Halloween with the catch and close to a first down.
Nolan Gruel's a redshirt freshman, who they were very surprised that he has developed as quickly as he has. Really good threat from that outside position.
Great job by that defensive front at Syracuse on 2nd and 1. Led by Williams, the nose tackle, McKinley Williams. They nicknamed him Bear. Not someone you want to mess with, I'm guessing that has to do with that nickname. But now 3rd down and even more than a yard, so a loss on the play for Wake Forest. Now Hartman coming to the sideline.
This is when you'll see Kenneth Walker usually take that wildcat shotgun snap, have him and Christian Beal-Smith in the backfield together.
That's what we've got. Beal-Smith 36, Walker 9. Walker takes the snap and will look to find enough room to get that first down. It just does. He just emerged from that pile, Mark. Didn't even know where he was, and there was number 9 moving the sticks.
Yeah, he's so good at lowering his shoulder on contact. Watch as he bounces this one outside. He gets tackled for no gain, and that's linebacker number 27, Stephon Thompson. He just does a good job of lowering that shoulder. And we have an injury on the field, so we'll see how that plays out when we come back.
Bob Hanna at that rover spot, shaken up on that last play. He made the tackle. And it looks like this staff right now is working on maybe his neck, Mark, upper part of his back.
Yeah, you see his neck kind of compressed. That's the exact tackle you try to avoid, having your head down, your neck compressed into your body. Yeah, it's just
good to see him moving all of his extremities and
Exactly
walking off
right.
under his own power. That is a position that Syracuse cannot afford to lose a player either. You know, playing a true freshman, you're already out. Trill Williams, one of your safeties. You had Andre Cisco, who got injured and opted out the rest of the year as he looks forward to the NFL. So an already thin position for Syracuse now made even thinner, as at least it looks like he and Babers are able to share a laugh about it. So that's a good sign.
Yeah, it's good. You know, it's good to see they're going to check him out, check his head, and you'll probably just see if he has a concussion or anything, but hopefully he is okay and able to return.
First down for Wake Forest. Hartman quickly out. Tried to get Taylor Moore in going, but nice job by Lee Koba to get out there and make the tackle and beat the block.
Yeah, really good job. They have it set up, blocker out in front of them. Good job by getting low and making, I think that was maybe Ben LaBrose, who actually just came in for Rob Hanna from that safety spot.
Yeah, I think you're right. Hartman now pressure from Terrell Richards, but he's able to get rid of it and hit his receiver over the middle. It's Donovan Green. Look at these receivers, Mark. They lost their top 3 receivers in one of the best receiving corps in the ACC last year. All of them to eligibility or opting out. So a lot of young players like Donovan Green now playing big roles and really coming through. Now Hartman going up top. Overshoots his man, Morin.
Yeah, you know, he's hitting himself because you know, we saw him open a little bit earlier in that route, but you're exactly right. I mean, these wide receivers have absolutely stepped up, and we talked to Dave Clawson in terms of, you know, hey, what did you expect coming into the season? What type of surprises did you have? And he named the wide receiver as, hey, look, this is one of the bigger surprises that I've had this entire year, and a pleasant surprise at that.
There's Green again, Donovan Green, who was, you know, one of the top recruits a couple of years ago in the state of North Carolina. Nolan Gruel, you've already seen, another one of the top wide receivers in the state, both opting to stay in the state of North Carolina and go to Wake Forest. Now as redshirt freshman, thrust into action with Scotty Washington no longer here. The whole group that they had last year, Mark, was so talented. Sage Surratt, Hartman again, pressure. Couldn't connect with Morin. And he'll bring up 4th down and short.
Yeah, great play by Ahman Greenwood. Yep, jinx, Chris. Great play by Ahman Greenwood. You just came in, you know, great job getting that hand in front of the ball. And you know, you talk about the skill and really the ability that these wide receivers have. But yeah, I've been impressed with the defensive backfield by Syracuse in this game so far. The coverage has been sound, it's been tight. They've made, you know, difficult for Sam Hartman to throw downfield. And they're playing with a lot of young guys, especially with Rob Hanna out.
One more high punt. Akeem Johnson waiting for it, makes the fair catch at his own 19. What's going on over in Death Valley right now, Mark?
Well, Boston College is up 14-7 on Clemson. And Zay Flowers had a big touchdown catch in the corner of the end zone. David Bailey ran one in. Travis Etienne had a receiving score as well. But you know, it's a time where Clemson does not have Trevor Lawrence. He is out, as big news across the country. He's out for, you know, COVID-related reasons, and so far Clemson is not performing to their standard.
Yeah, 14-7, Boston College on top. I'm sure Jordan Cornette and the crew will have a whole lot on that game coming up at halftime. State Farm halftime report. Solid drive that ended up in no points for Culpeper and Syracuse on their last possession. Looking to build on that here. First time we've mentioned Taj Harris today, Mark.
Yeah, it's the first time. It's not going to be the last time at all. But good job by Culpeper fielding just that ground ball right there and then throwing it out to Taj Harris. Taj Harris is a guy, you know, he has incredible speed. We talked about Nykeem Johnson, but Nykeem Johnson's more of the jet sweep, kind of lateral, throw it out on a screen pass. But Taj Harris just goes downfield. You know, he can burn you on deep ones. You know, a lot of those deep passes have been a part of that 434 yards he had coming into this game. Just, you know, he's an explosive threat. And Dave Clawson, you know, he said these are maybe the group of 3 best receivers in the entire ACC.
Officials looking at a replay. We'll find out what their decision is when we come back. Wake Forest up 10 here in the second quarter. down.
Yeah, they're going to count that as down by well, not down by contact, but just down with his knee touching the ground as he picked up the ball. So that'd be a big loss, setting up 2nd and long for Syracuse.
Yeah, instead of a 4-yard gain, it's a 6-yard loss. 2nd down and 16. Lutz out of the backfield. Needs to make a defender miss. Cannot do so. Just Sear Taylor from that cornerback spot. Solid coming up and making the tackle.
Yeah, great tackle. And it kind of seems like every time Cooper Lutz is in the backfield, you got to treat him like a wide receiver. I mean, they're going to get 5 out of the backfield a lot. They're really not even putting a tight end in the ball game to try to run the ball up the middle. So continue to see a lot of passes from Rex Culpepper in this game.
Syracuse brings just 3, or Wake brings 3, and Taj Harris, a little miscommunication, but maybe that's why. Flags all over the field, as Harris may have been held.
I think it might have been Gavin Holmes, another true freshman at that cornerback position, just getting a little jersey tug at the top of the route.
There are 2 fouls on the play, both on the defense. Holding, defense number 6, that penalty's declined. Holding, defense number 24. It's a 10-yard penalty, automatic 1st down.
Yeah, they caught both Taylor and Holmes.
Yeah, so it was on Holmes, but you see right here, just a little bit of grab on that shoulder pad, and it's good route running. It's good route running by Taj Harris. You feel a little grab on your shoulder, and you got to make a break out of it to see the tug. Good job on that. I think he knew right as the ball was thrown that he was going to get that flag.
Good timing for Syracuse. 1st and 10. Now they extend this drive. Lutz. Big gain outside the 40. He'll pick up a 1st down. Nick Anderson was there to make the stop, but Lutz pressed into action. Again, reminder, he was a DB, he was a receiver. You had 3 running backs unavailable that they thought they were going to have here for Syracuse. So Lutz thrust into action. Here he is again. Anderson giving chase, does make the tackle, but another good gain on 1st down for the Orange.
Yeah, just as I said, that Lutz isn't getting the ball handed off to him. He has 2 good runs, and this is on just Sear Taylor, number 6. He went under the tight end's block and gave up the edge of the defense, and just too far of a run for Nick Anderson to get over top of that. Sear Taylor got away with that last week, but you can't go under blocks when you have the edge.
Lutz picks up the 1st down, now into Wake Forest territory. Culpepper way over the head of his intended receiver. That's Quealy on the outside.
Yeah, and Syracuse, they've gotten some success on the ground so far on this drive, but they are just not very productive when it comes to the running game. Obviously, don't have the players that they wanted to have, but they're 90th in the country in yards per rush out of 101 teams. Just haven't had the success, but good to see on this drive up until that play some success on the ground, but they got stuffed by Ryan Smend, the middle linebacker.
Yeah, Boogie Basham blew this up too. Look at number 9 on the outside, just right there waiting for him.
That's how you set an edge of a defense. We talk about, okay, limit the running space on the outside, don't let the ball carrier bounce. If you can swim and swipe past your offensive lineman, dip your hips, and then coil back around and get a part of your running back's legs, that's pretty good. I think some NFL scouts will like that last play.
Lakeem Johnson now in the backfield with Culpepper. Swings out. Culpepper flushed. A lot of pressure coming from Wake, and they get him.
Jacquez Williams. Jacquez Williams was one of about 3 linebackers who came on this play. Everybody, they brought the house, and just good job tracking down Rex Culpepper. Rex Culpepper saw that open lane up the middle, and that's what happens sometimes when you get 5 wide receivers out. When you burst your running backs out in the pass route, they don't stay in to protect. And I think Lyle Hemphill just decided, look, if they're going to keep doing that, we're going to bring pressure, and it paid off on that last sack.
First sack of the year for Jacquez Williams, forcing Syracuse to punt. Fair catch made for by Taylor Morin. Maybe it wasn't a fair catch. popped as soon as he made the catch. Wake Forest will take over deep inside their own territory again. Get the latest news and information from the ACC each and every morning with special guests from around the world of sports. Packer and Durham, weekdays at 7 a.m. Eastern on the ACC network, and as always on that ESPN app. Were you on Packer and Durham this week in full costume or no?
I was not on Packer Durham in full costume. I did go in full costume on All ACC with Dallin Cuff last night. So in Boston, my 2-year-old son, we were both lions. I was Mufasa, he was Simba. It was a good little family fun affair.
I know Halloween is very important to families out there, but I challenge any of you watching to have it take on more importance than it does in the Riggs household. Right, Kels?
I just wanted to know what Dallin Cuff thought about your costume, because Dallin Cuff is not one that dresses up, Mark.
Well, I think I got him in the spirit. He loved the costume. He loved the conversation. And I don't know if viewers took me very seriously when I was talking ball, but that's okay. It's fun. Football's fun, man. Halloween's fun. I'm all about fun.
Big third down here for Wake Forest and big third down for Syracuse. Again, they're trying to get this defense that was on the field for really the entire first quarter. A blow here and there. They've done a good job of getting off the field after those first 2 drives from Wake Forest. And another opportunity here on 3rd and 1. Walker met in the backfield.
Play.
He's not going to get there.
Nice play by Garrett Williams, the cornerback number 14 on the outside. Talked about Kenneth Walker and his ability to bounce the ball outside. Well, Garrett Williams stayed home. It's so hard to do on that long developing play to stay home on the outside. He did a fantastic job of bringing down Walker short of that first down.
Garrett Williams, who had a pick 6 last week in their loss at Clemson, continuing to make plays from that corner spot. The redshirt freshman from Harrisburg, North Carolina. Akeem Johnson back to receive this pump, but we'll have flags first. Von Moore may have to kick it from 5 yards further back. Get the word from Mike Roach, our referee today.
False start, kicking team, number 39. It's a 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
That's the bunch I know. That's the bunch I know. That's the way to play ball.
That won't help more. You see 39 on the far right. Syracuse shifted on the other side, and he tried to shift with him. We'll try it again. You can see Syracuse right now looking to bring pressure. They back out of it. Play for the return. Nice high kick from Mora. Johnson looking to make a man miss, and does. Inside of Wake Forest territory. Good return all the way down to about the 36-yard line. Syracuse is in business. Speaking of in business, so is Jordan Cornette in studio. What do you got for us, JC?
ACC Network studio update, and Cotter, we got an intriguing one. Boston College with Clemson without Trevor Lawrence. Travis Etienne coughs it up. Brandon Sebastian would recover and take that thing 99 yards the other way. Boston College leads Clemson 21-7. Early second quarter. Back to you guys.
Wow. Thank you so much, Jordan. Before we get done with our broadcast, we're going to have Kelsey tell us how you pronounce Clemson quarterbacks' names, both of them filling in for Trevor Lawrence today, because it has not been a successful run for them so far. 21-7. BC on top as Syracuse begins this drive, and successfully with the completion out on the outside to Quealy. Kels, how do you pronounce the quarterbacks' names for Clemson?
Listen, guys, it is not easy. I practiced it a lot the other day. I appreciate you setting me up for it. I'm going with DJ Uiagalelei and Tyson Pumachan. How'd I do, guys?
Okay, I think you did pretty well. About better than I could do. I'm not even gonna try to correct you. I'm just gonna assume that you're right, but I think you are right.
Yeah. Uiagalelei? I think that might be.
He's starting.
You did a great job, Kelsey.
He's starting right now. And he's in the game for Clemson, but they've got to make something happen because they are down 21-7 right now with the big showdown against Notre Dame coming up. You heard Jordan Cornette, much more on that game coming up at the half, and more on this one as well. As you know, Syracuse is starting to get something going here offensively.
Yeah, they are. A lot of people are watching this game saying, who is this guy, Cooper Lutz? And I think we talked about him a lot earlier, but I mean, look at that balance. I mean, he's built like a running back. I think that he found his niche and his spot in this offense.
Unfortunately, right there, he found the teeth of this Wake Forest defense. Nothing doing on that carry. Travion Red and several others were there, along with Shamar McCollum, to make the stop.
I think both these defenses have played well so far in this game. You know, obviously Wake Forest had that big long drive on the ground, the 2 to start this game. But since then, both defenses have been very stingy in the yards they've been able to give up.
Second down and long. Wake bringing pressure on the edge, means they got an open receiver, and it's going to be a score. Nakeem Johnson was wide open. Mark, what is it you always tell me? Throw from where the blitz comes from.
See, it's paying off, Chris. You're getting knowledge dropped on people, but you're exactly right. Find and identify where the pressure is coming from and replace the pressure with the football. Fantastic job by Rex Culpepper understanding that Jaquez Williams is coming off the edge and there was going to be one less defender to the side of Nakeem Johnson. And really good route, really good catch. And you know, just like that, Syracuse is right back in this game.
Andre Schmidt with the try, and he puts it through. 10-7 now. Wake Forest lead is cut to 3. Rex Culpepper leading the Qs with a short field into the end zone. Nakeem Johnson with his 3rd touchdown grab of the year. It's Wake by 3 late in the first half. Six-yard punt return, setting up Syracuse into Wake Forest territory. Then he finished off the drive with a 21-yard touchdown catch from Rex Culpepper. 10-7 our score here. Wake on top, getting the football back. Final 4 minutes of this first half. Very entertaining first half. That Wake took their first 2 drives, scored 10 points. Syracuse defense is stiffened so far. Here's Green on the return. Can't quite get it out to the 20-yard line, so nice special teams play by Syracuse here as well.
Yeah, it's really 2 good special teams plays back-to-back by Syracuse. The long punt return by Nakeem Johnson, and then this big tackle on the kickoff. I mean, just if you want an extra added bonus, if you think your team might be lacking in certain areas, you can get some big plays on special teams. It goes a long way in terms of your team's confidence. And those 2 plays set up that last score, and now pin Wake Forest on a long field to go in order to try to score before half.
Yeah, I mentioned they scored on their first 2 drives. Last 2 drives have ended in punts. So let's see what Hartman can do here with 4:13 left in this first half. Looking to throw on first down. Steps up down the sideline deep. One-on-one coverage out there, but the coverage was good. Garrett Williams was all over Donovan Green.
There's been a couple times that Wake Forest has tried to take some deep shots, and with Garrett Williams and Fatu Melifonwu on the outside, and you have 2 of the best cornerbacks in the ACC. These guys are both phenomenal. They're big, they're strong, they're fast, and it's really hard to throw the ball over their head, even though Syracuse does play man-to-man most of the time.
Pressure coming, and they get it to Hartman, but Hartman, to his credit, stood in there and got it to Green for the first down.
Green's had a big day, and a lot of these underneath routes, I think that's one of the things that Wake Forest does well is they draw the linebackers up with that run fake and are able to hit those kind of mid-short routes right behind the linebackers.
Tried to get another one to Green after the fake to Beal Smith, and Hartman misfiring there.
So yeah, Hartman just didn't step into the throw as much as he would like to. You saw Jeff Canton-Arku kind of buzzing out underneath that route and short-armed it a little bit. See if they get back to this run game. They kind of abandoned it so far in the game.
It's a quick flare out to Roberson. That's sort of a pass that acts as a run.
Yeah, a little bit. But yeah, it's interesting to me, Chris. You had so much success the first 2 drives, just handing the ball off and kind of rotating Kenneth Walker and Christian Beal Smith. And it seems like the last 3 drives they've tried to air it out a little bit more. And 3rd and 5 is still manageable. It's not just the same 3rd and 2 they're used to.
Yeah, the whole playbook is open. Here comes Syracuse with pressure. Hartman being forced out of the pocket now, scrambling for his life. Has a receiver and cannot connect with Roberson. Roberson angry with himself that he couldn't corral it. 4th down now. The Cuse will get the ball back.
Yeah, Hartman, great job seeing the pressure, and it is Canton Arku again. He just gets outside of him, and this pass would have been complete inbounds, just dropped. Tough break, but great job by Syracuse stopping Wake Forest, and hopefully they'll be able to get the ball back and drive down the field to score before the half ends.
Yeah, 3 timeouts on the board for Syracuse and 3:19, plenty of time. And Syracuse gets the second half kickoff as well, so a lot going in the orange favor here. Mora with a nice big kick, sending Johnson all the way back to his 20. That's where Syracuse will take over. Tonight at 11 o'clock Eastern, the Huddle Quartet. You just heard from Jordan Cornette. He'll be joined by Eric McLean, E.J. Manuel, Coach Richt. Back with a complete breakdown of all 6 ACC games today, including the one going on right now in Death Valley with Clemson trailing Boston College 21-10. Much more on that coming up in just 3:12 at the halftime report. But of course, the Huddle tonight, a full breakdown. And a breakdown of this one too is Wake Forest took a 10-0 lead here early. Their first 2 drives of the game, they put points on the board. Since then, Syracuse defense has stiffened up, Mark, and this guy right here, Rex Culpepper, starting to get things going with the passing game, and Cooper Lutz on the running game for the Orange.
Yeah, 10 completions for 64 yards. It's not the big passes downfield, but they've been consistently moving the chains in the last few drives.
Lutz here, bounces it outside, keeps his feet, gets 5 yards.
And that was a rare time that Boogie Basham lost the edge of the defense, and you saw Cooper Lutz take advantage of it, bouncing to the outside. And this is, at this point in the game, you have 2:53 left on the clock. You got 3 timeouts left. Everything is open in your offensive playbook. I love the run on 1st down, getting 2nd and short. Look for a deep pass here.
Looking to get with Taj Harris. Nice job defensively by Kalen Carson to break that up. 3rd down.
Yeah, this is not an easy task for Kalen Carson. There's pressure brought up front, man-to-man on the outside with Taj Harris, and Carson looks like, look, I'm not even going to go for the ball. He's got good position on me. I'm just going to make sure I tackle him. But was able to drop the ball and he'll get the ball out.
3rd and 5. Keep in mind, Wake Forest still has 3 timeouts on the board as well. So if they can get a stop here, they'll get the ball back to their offense with plenty of time to make something happen.
Wake Forest got the play call late.
Showing pressure. The Deeks bring it. They bring 5. Culpepper steps up. Nice defensive play by Anderson. He thought he might have been able to get pick number 4 on this season.
Well, Nick Anderson just had a phenomenal weekend last week. I mean, his Saturday last week included 3 interceptions. And it's because of plays like that. I mean, that is a difficult play to coach. You say, okay, you see the underneath route, you break on the underneath route, but he just has the knack, the athletic ability, the awareness, the instincts to read the play and break on it. Coaches said, like, look, this guy studies film more than anyone I have ever seen. And that play right there showed that he understood the film, and he broke on the play he recognized.
Lauren corrals the punt. You got more on that, Kels?
Yeah, I mean, I just love this story about Nick Anderson. You talked, Mark, just a little bit about how much he's in the playbook and studying. Coach also told us that he's a big Post-it guy. He walks up to him with Post-its all the way down his arm. He's like, hey, Coach, this is what I noticed. Look at this Post-it. What do you think about this? So that's super interesting. And then, of course, all the fame that he could have gotten this week. He was on Nightly News with Lester Holt. But you guys, he didn't even want to do the interview. They had to talk him into it because he's such a team guy. And you could tell just from the way the coaches and the players talk about Nick Anderson, what it meant to them to see him have the game that he had last week.
He's got the blood on his knee there. He's got the gash on his chin, all bandaged up. Throwback kind of guy. He's only 5'11", 185 pounds. Talking to his coaches this week, he doesn't seem like the ideal size for a safety. And the coaches said, we needed a safety. And he was the only guy we had, so we put him in there.
Mighty Mouse wasn't the ideal size for a superhero either, but he pretty much dominated everywhere he went. I think Nick Anderson might be the Mighty Mouse of the ACC right now. He's been he's really good, and so far today too, Sam Hartman's been pretty good in terms of completing passes.
He's got a receiver open. Nice catch just behind Morin, but Morin was able to go back and grab it. And now Wake Forest is on the move after really not having done much offensively since those first 2 drives.
Watch the eyes. Sam Hartman keeps his eyes downfield the entire time he rides the ball into his running backs. And as a defender, it's so hard to have him do that because, yes, you have to run up on the run play, but he is looking right over your shoulder to try to complete a pass behind you.
Give to Walker, cuts it back inside beautifully. That's another first down for the Deeks.
They have moved down the field quickly. Wake Forest is known for its tempo, but they have really turned it up a notch on this drive. Good blocking downfield. You see Taylor Morin, the wide receiver, number 83 on the outside, getting a big block. And these wide receivers have really bought into this style of offense. You know, your time will come, but it's a run-first offense, so you need to block on the outside.
Give again to Walker. Bounces it. Now cuts it back inside again. Still on his feet. Inside the 10. He'll score.
That was kind of ridiculous, Chris. I mean, I thought for sure he was going to be down right at the first down marker, and then he broke that tackle, and then he broke about 3 more tackles. But watch the number of gold helmets that go along for the ride with him. Look, he is never in a situation where he is without blockers at some point on this run, all the way right up until the end zone. You see big number 53 Nash leading the way, and this is the point where, you know, Syracuse tries to make the tackle to get up there, but the activity of this offensive line, I mean, that's what gives these running backs success. Yes, they are naturally gifted and they run hard, but their offensive line is right there along for the ride with them.
Terrell Richards down. They're having a look at him. You got a feel for this young man right here. He has just had so many injury issues, Mark, and yet once again the staff looks like they're looking at the lower part of his right leg, maybe his knee. Young man out of Brampton, Canada, Ontario.
And he played defensive end last year. You see right there at the end of the play, he kind of just lands on his foot a little bit wrong. Good to see him walking off the field, but, you know, he started as a D end last year, and then they had a lot of, you know, guys just, you know, miss out. And that Sam linebacker position became open. He leaned out a little bit, got his speed up. And he's played really well at that position. One of the more physical linebackers that they have.
Good to see Richards walk off under his own power. Hope to see him back in this game at some point in time. Short, quick scoring drive for Wake Forest. 4 plays, just 1:07 off the clock, 57 yards. Kenneth Walker III with his 2nd rushing touchdown of the day. And Skiba now looking to convert the try and up that Wake Forest lead back to 10. High snap. Brought down by Zach Murphy, and the conversion is good.
Yeah, and Skiba, you know, he's a fantastic kicker, fantastic player. I mean, you know, he's the type of guy who you get on your team and you have him for 4 years and you know you're going to be fantastic. And yeah, I think you know, he's also an interesting guy, person off the field. And you know, Kelsey got to catch up with him a little this week. Kelsey?
Yeah, Mark, I got to catch up with actually Nick Skiba and Sam Hartman. They're roommates, so that was really interesting to get their perspective on each other. But you'll notice when Nick Skiba comes out, on his wrist, he has a cross on one side. On the other side, he has the initials EGS. That stands for Ellen Grace Skiba. When he was just 13 years old, his mother was pregnant and sadly had a stillborn daughter. So he said when he got to Wake Forest, it's just something that popped into his head. He wanted to show off his faith. He also wanted to keep in mind his daughter, his sister, who was not able to live her life, and he wants to play for her and keep her top of mind.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal kicker. He's been for 3 years now with this Wake Forest team. As Johnson on the return picks up good yardage outside the 30. Skiba's 53 of 60 in his career on field goals. That's an amazing percentage. He doesn't have a super strong leg, Mark. He's not a guy who's going to go out there and boom it from 55, but inside of 50, he's practically automatic.
Yeah, he is. You know, he hasn't even attempted a kick over 50 yards this entire year, but it's that consistency. And, you know, there's a spot for a guy like that on NFL rosters. You know, you get the point where sometimes you have a big leg kicker and you have just your accurate kicker, your guy who can make everything from inside of 50, and he could be that guy for a lot of teams at the next level. But Kelsey talked about kind of his purpose, and I think a lot of times for players, for athletes, when they have a purpose that really drives them to be great, it works, and he definitely has that purpose in playing for his sister.
Culpepper dropped and loses the football, and Wake Forest is going to recover the fumble. That's a huge play by Ryan Smenda to make the hit and dislodge the ball from Culpepper, and now Wake Forest is in business with 1:08 left to go in this first half.
Yeah, watch the pressure come. Ryan Smenda, you're going to see him late on the outside. He makes this hit, and just a really good job of putting his helmet on the football. Fantastic. Driving through the quarterback. The recovery is clean on the bottom, and Ryan Smenda is a guy that Lyle Hemphill, he said, look, I need him to play better. He's a good player. He has the ability. He just has to stop thinking so much and stop playing so pretty. And I know as a linebacker, it's a little bit of blue-collar work every now and then. That was some blue-collar work on the outside, but forced a fumble. That'll get on the stat sheet.
Yeah, Miles Fox on the recovery. Now Deacons will look to strike. Hartman wanted to go up top. Nobody was open. Now he's scrambling. He's going to get sacked. The pursuit just caught up with him. And Wake has 3 timeouts. They may have to use one here. Do have a flag on the play. Let's check that first.
And good job by pressure on the outside. It really came initially from Stephon Thompson, number 27, up the middle, and forced the scramble.
Waiting to hear from Mike Roach, our referee.
And Wake's already in field goal range, so
Holding.
lost some yards.
Offense, number 26. It's a 10-yard penalty, first down.
Accepting the penalty. That's interesting. Against Christian Beal-Smith. Interesting, Mark, both these teams have created a lot of turnovers, and usually when you talk to coaches, they'll say, you win the turnover battle, you win the game. Almost every coach will tell you that. Wake Forest wins the turnover battle a lot and they win games. Syracuse wins the turnover battle a lot and they lose a lot of games, even when they win that battle.
Yeah, it's kind of an anomaly. There's one statistic that almost always holds true, except for maybe if you're named Syracuse. But so far right now, they're on the bottom end of the scoreboard and negative on that turnover margin for this game. But you look at just their ability to force turnovers. Wake Forest almost never turns the ball over. They've only had 1 fumble this entire year, no interceptions on the year, and both teams just can create interceptions, cause fumbles, and they both really utilize that in their defensive style and defensive game plan.
The Syracuse defense looking to bow up here and not allow Wake any points off of that last turnover. Already had a holding call, pushed the Deeks back 10 yards. Hartman on second down. Beal-Smith can't elude the tackle of Syracuse. There's too many players. Mikel Jones running to the football. First time we've seen Jones today.
Yeah, it's the first time we've seen him, and good play on that last tackle. And after that holding penalty, you're setting up a really long field goal try if they're not able to convert this or gain a few yards.
Pressure on the edge. Hartman's going to get dropped.
That'll knock him out of field goal range.
Huge play by Williams off the corner.
That'll knock him right back out of field goal range. I mean, this is a huge play by Syracuse defensively. This entire series, you got the sack, you got the holding,
Wake Forest takes
penalty back them all the way up, and this could be a situation where maybe you do test that leg of Nick Skiba, see if he can just pummel one downfield.
Now this would be a bomb. I'm thinking with 3 seconds left, Mark, they call this final timeout. I got to think Hartman's going to just Hail Mary this one into the end zone.
Yeah, you think so, and it's interesting because Dave Clawson talked about last week how he didn't want to kick the long field goal at the end of the game because he had watched Clemson do it earlier in the week, and they got it blocked in return for a touchdown. And so he is kind of risk adverse when it comes to this situation. It might be less risky to just punch it up there, and you see him. Nick Skiba tapped him on the shoulder and said, "Coach, I can get it," and Dave Clawson just turned his back and walked away.
This is 60 yards, so this might be Yeah, it might be just a little bit more than Skiba would even look to the coach and say, yeah, I can hit it. So Hartman's coming out, and it looks like they're going to just throw it into the end zone and hope to get either a call or a score.
You could also just, throw it up, throw it out of the back of the end zone if you don't have anything open. Take the time off the clock and throw it out of bounds.
Another whistle before we get the snap.
Syracuse takes its first time out of the half.
Interesting roll moves there.
Yeah, Tony
Defensive
White
lineman.
saw what. Yeah, White wanted to see what Wake was coming out with, so he calls a timeout. Clausen was pacing up and down on the sidelines there a moment ago, Mark. You got to think he's thinking, I mean, we had an opportunity to put points on the board with 1:08 left to go in this first half. We did nothing but go backwards.
Yeah, can't be excited about that. And, he's going against a guy he knows very well. Dave Clausen, Bowling Green, head coach from till 2013. Then right after him, Dino Babers took over as the head coach of Bowling Green. I said these guys still stay in contact. They talk every time there's an ACC update. They talk in the off season. I doubt they talk much this week. It's kind of like you got a friend on the other side of the ball, and you make sure you don't blow up his cell phone on that 1 week of the game. Maybe they'll talk after the game, depending upon the outcome. But they've got a good relationship, and
Syracuse brings pressure. Hartman just chucks it up, and that'll fall harmlessly incomplete, and that'll wrap it up for us here in this first half. Wake Forest jumped out to a 10-point lead early. Looked like they may run away with it, but Syracuse really battened down the hatches defensively. Got a touchdown drive of their own after a good punt return from Nakeem Johnson. And here we stand at the half, 17-7. Wake Forest on top over Syracuse here in the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, and it was a huge stop by Syracuse at the end of the first half, knocking Wake Forest back out of field goal range, keeping it just a 10-point ball game. Really good job, Syracuse defensively, and Wake Forest at times has looked very, very high-powered on offense, and other times they've been relatively stagnant. So we'll see what to make of this second half. And
Kelsey standing by with Dave Clausen.
Coach, things looked like they had stalled out there for a little while in the middle, but you're able to come up with a big defensive play and then get more points on the board. How do you keep that momentum going into the second half?
Well, we missed an opportunity at the end there. We got the sack, strip, fumble, and we didn't cash in on it. And we had a really bad sequence there. We didn't convert a short yardage. We allowed a big punt return, and we cut a vertical loose. But they're playing well, and we just got to be consistent. We've got to convert third downs, and we got to get touchdowns in the red zone.
Coach, thanks.
Thank you.
Wake Forest not terrible on third down, 6 and 11, but you heard about a couple of plays that Coach Clausen would certainly like to have back. His team, though, with the lead, 17-7 at the half. Deeks came out strong. Syracuse answered. We got a good second half still to come, but until then, though, the crew in the studio going to take over for a little bit. Don't go anywhere. Back here at the Carrier Dome, 17-7, Wake Forest on top. Chris Cotter, Mark Hertzlick, Kelsey Riggs with you as we get set to kick off for the second half. Mark, coming in, we thought Wake Forest would be able to run the football. It's what they want to do with their two big backs, and they've by and large been able to do it, had success on the ground.
Yeah, they have, and it's really been a combination of both of them. Kenneth Walker and Christian Beal-Smith. You see the 2 touchdowns on Kenneth Walker's side. That's usually how it goes. He has 10 touchdowns on the season. But Christian Beal-Smith has added a lot in terms of running up the middle, his patience, his physicality. Just, so good in terms of how both of these players understand when to call on their explosiveness. They kind of walk up to the line of scrimmage, find the right hole, and then burst right through it with their pads down and broken a lot of tackles. So this is going to be something that Dino Babers must harp on in stopping these two backs.
1-2 punch leading to 110 yards combined in that first half, and Walker finding the end zone twice, now has 10 on the season. Syracuse, though, was able to really buckle up there at the end of that first half after a turnover deep in their own territory to prevent further points put on the board by Wake Forest as we get started here in the second half. This ball hit out the back of the end zone moments ago. Kelsey Riggs was able to catch up with Dino Babers. Kels?
Yeah, I just talked with Dino Babers and asked him what he needed to do to kind of switch the momentum in the second half. And he says, well, the good news is they start with the ball. They need to find a way to make that count on this first drive. But you guys were just talking about Wake Forest running back, and I mentioned both of those guys to him too. I said, what do you need to do to slow down this rushing attack? And he says, the good news is the way they come out of it, they're slow enough, but we've got to find a way to get there, and we've got to find a way to tackle them.
Yeah, they found a way to get something going running themselves. Lutz has 50 yards and 52 yards rather in that first half and 22 receiving. He's going to lose a few here as Wake Forest does a really nice job of stringing this out to the boundary.
Yeah, Lutz, is starting this half off as not only the leading rusher but the leading receiver, and he's a guy that really didn't know whether he was going to be the starter or not coming into this day. But with Sean Tucker down, their lead running back, he's gotten the call, and he's performed well. He really has, and they just need to consistently get more positive plays. You saw that loss on first down setting up second long. You can't have those if you want to claw your way back in this game.
Wake showed pressure and brought it. Harris now catching it and eludes a tackler still on his feet. Will come up just shy of the first down, but makes up a lot of that lost yardage and then some back on second down. It'll bring up third down and short.
Yeah, accurate pass on the outside, and Taj Harris, he has kind of this routine of losing yards to break a tackle and gain some yards, and sometimes it can be really helpful. But you see here, he almost runs all the way back to the line of scrimmage. If that tackle isn't broken, would have been a minimal gain, but good job breaking the tackle and creating third and short.
Culpepper batted down by Anderson. Another big play by this former walk-on freshman safety.
Well, Nick Anderson, I mean, you think, okay, maybe he's like a one-trick pony in terms of last week, but he's had two fantastic plays so far in pass coverage. He's been in on a bunch of tackles, but it goes back to film study. He understands formations. He understands, look, it's 2-by-2. Their number one route is a slant flat route. As soon as I see that guy go out to the flat, I'm breaking on this slant route. And so far, Sterling Gilbert, the offensive coordinator, has not changed up his tendencies too much, and Nick Anderson's picked on him.
Fair catch by Moore, and I mentioned former walk-on. That's because last week, after he had 3 picks in a game, first Wake Forest player to do that since 1987, this happened. Coach awarding him a scholarship. Usually we get that in a meeting room, Mark. This time the coach couldn't wait. After 3 interceptions, had to give it to him right there at the end of the game. He'll be on scholarship starting spring semester.
Well, it's funny, you see that picture, and that was after the game. There's no fans in the stands or anything. They decided to celebrate on the field after the game rather than in the locker room because, hey, let's give us a COVID-friendly place for our team to celebrate a victory.
This looks like just trying to find some room to run was Walker and had nowhere to go. Kelsey has more on that. What a fun night that was last Saturday night for Wake Forest.
It was, and I don't know if you could tell or not, but they were all chanting Scully, Scully. So, of course, Dave Clawson says, okay, yeah, you're right, we've got to do this, and makes it happen. And it was so interesting talking to the coaches about him. They said, you know what, he came here and wanted to play in the ACC. Even though he had FCS offers, he was on a mission to prove he belonged. And I feel like after last week, he's definitely done that.
He might be right back out there on the field in a hurry because Syracuse is bowling up defensively. Kingsley Jonathan stopping Walker again, third down and long for this Wake Forest offense. Hartman stepping up, now pressure coming, flushes him out of the pocket. He gets rid of the football, has a receiver wide open. 40, 30, making a cut to the end zone. Roberson is going to score. Wow.
He was wide open. He started in a little bunch set to the boundary, but as he was kind of looking back and saw his quarterback almost sacked. Right here, great job by Sam Hartman stepping up in the pocket, and it had to have been a blown coverage of some sort. But picking it up off the ground, scooping it up, catching the ball, and then the rest was history. Good job by Sam Hartman, escaping the pressure, keeping his eyes downfield.
81 yards, longest play for Wake Forest from scrimmage this season. And it looked like Syracuse might be able to get a big stop to open the second half. Instead, that play goes exactly the opposite as the Orange had planned. 24-7, biggest lead of the game so far for the Deeks as Roberson goes 81 yards untouched. (24-7), Jaquari Roberson, number 5, the old man of this receiving core this year, 81 yards on the pitch and catch, taking over for Kendall Hinton, who was such a good slot receiver for this team and not leaving really anything out there in terms of the decrease. Warren's been outstanding. Roberson has been outstanding from that slot spot. Well, what can Rex Culpepper do now for Syracuse? We know he can sling the football around. He's got some other talents, though, as well. Take a listen.
Yeah, what can he not do, Chris? What can he not do?
Wailing on his axe. Tribute to Eddie Van Halen, who we lost recently, the guitar god, Kels. Not bad.
Not bad, especially because it's not just the guitar that he can play. He can also play the piano. They were actually like waiting to do their COVID test at a hotel. Cotter as he throws a
interception. This might go for 6, Kels, and it will. Just as we talk up Culpepper, true freshman Kalen Carson, well, the other true freshman, Gavin Holmes, rather, picks it off and takes it the distance.
Looks like he might have hurt himself somehow on this return, but he just sat on a route, and it looked like a miscommunication between Rex Culpepper and his wide receiver. The receiver went long, and Rex threw short. Part of this offensive progression is you have to read defenses, and really as the receiver went long, he was in the flat, and looks like he pulled a hamstring on his way out.
Yeah, with his hip right there, but Holmes, pick 6. Wake extends their lead. Holmes, who just picked off Rex Culpepper and returned it for the score, just as he was crossing the goal line, you saw him grab his left hip. And the attendees for Wake Forest helping him off the field right now. So this true freshman out of New Orleans makes a huge play. Kind of banged up really since he got on campus in Winston-Salem. So we certainly hope the best for Gavin Holmes. It makes a big play for his team. And, you know, what was a tight game at the half, you know, you think about it, Mark, just a moment ago, Wake Forest had a 3rd down from deep inside their own territory early in this second half. If Syracuse can make the stop there and get off the field, it's a whole new game than what it is now. Just like that, an 81-yard touchdown completion and a pick 6, 14 points on the board for Wake.
Yeah, you know, it's a huge swing, and it's, you know, unfortunately for Syracuse, this is kind of the way their games have gone, especially last week versus Clemson. You know, it's an opponent that obviously is better than you in terms of your physical play, your physicality, in terms of the recruits you get, but they kept in the game up until late in the 3rd quarter, and then it was a lot of these types of series of plays, back-to-back plays, in terms of getting way far down on this scoreboard, and now at this point you're so far back that it just becomes a different sort of game plan. 2.5 minutes ago, this was a manageable game for Dino Babers, and now at this point, it's almost out of reach.
Yeah, you saw in that little graphic there that Mark and I talked about it in the first half, the anomaly of being up so much in terms of your turnover margin on the season, but being only 1-5 coming in. They're going to have to convert turnovers into points here in the second half if they want to make up this 24-point deficit.
We've got 2 minutes.
Trevor Pena, they return this kick for Syracuse, and he'll let it go over his head. Touchback. Syracuse will start this drive from their own 25. Wake Forest jumped out early, Mark, and got 10 points on the board early, and the running game was going, and then they opened things up early in the second half, throwing the football.
Yeah, and you see a couple, you know, big plays on the Syracuse side too. They got in the end zone, did their share, but really it's been the running backs early in this game, and then that one real long pass, that 81-yard touchdown play down the sideline, capped off with the pick six. So Wake Forest is again capitalizing on turnovers and relying on their running backs for their offensive production.
So in the blink of an eye, Syracuse down 24. Culpepper now going to the running game with success. Nakeem Johnson putting the wide out with all that speed in the backfield, Mark, just trying to get something going, a big play, an explosive play, something electric.
Well, they're going to have to do something because Cooper Lutz cannot take every single snap of this game. So it looks like Nakeem Johnson might be the other guy they have in the backfield.
Now the fake to Johnson.
Oh my goodness.
To Damian Alford.
He got hit by Trey Rucker on the outside, and Kelsey's got more on the sideline with an injury update. Kelsey?
Well, Gavin Holmes just came out of the tent just a second ago, guys. He's walking gingerly on that, looks like left leg, but he did just walk into the tunnel to go into the locker room. So we'll keep an eye on if he's able to come back out, but walked in just now without his helmet.
Further injury problems with Wake Forest, too. We'll take a break and get you caught up on what's happening with Jaquez Williams when we come back. Lacrosse banners. Our colleague Paul Carcaterra won a national championship playing lacrosse at Syracuse. We got more football to get to, though, on the ACC Network coming up. Louisville and Virginia Tech at 4 o'clock. Expect some fireworks for that one. And then tonight, Virginia and North Carolina, our Geico primetime matchup. Still a lot of football to get to. A lot of football to get to here, but Syracuse has got to make something happen offensively. And really on this drive, that shock of those 14 points, Mark, makes you think they really need to get something for the confidence, don't they, here?
Yeah, they really do, and they're going fast and really up tempo right now, but it's going to be 4th down and going fast again.
Going fast again and staying with it. 4th and 1 near midfield.
They're really, this is a formation that means they're reading the defense. They're just counting the box. If there's less guys in the box than there are blockers, they're going to hand the ball off. If they pack the box, they'll throw it to the outside.
Lutz picks up the 1st down and gets into Wake Forest territory. Kelsey, you got an injury update for us?
I do. I just told you about Gavin Holmes, who went to the locker room, and then on that same play, as I told you, it was Jaquez Williams who went down. He also followed Holmes straight to the locker room. So right now, Wake Forest without one of their cornerbacks and one of their linebackers.
Yeah, wow, everybody's so thin right now. Culpepper going up top. Couldn't get it to Johnson. Good coverage by Anderson.
Yeah, that coverage was by Nick Anderson on Nakeem Johnson. I mean, I can't really say enough about Nick Anderson. I mean, you don't have the speed to match up with Nakeem Johnson on the go ball, but you play it perfectly. And Syracuse, Dino Babers loves going up tempo. They've gone really fast so far this drive. They need to get some yardage, though. I would much rather go slower, pick the right plays, and execute them well than have a more 0 or negative yard plays.
2nd down and 10. Culpepper gets the low snap, gets it to Lutz. Just couldn't quite break through the line of scrimmage. Beyond Red, he was shaken up a little while ago, too. Good to see him back. 17 for Wake Forest. So Red makes a stop. Kels, what you got?
Well, I was just speaking with the Wake Forest staff, and right now for Jaquez Williams, he's in getting an x-ray. It is a right elbow, so they're checking things out with him. With Gavin Holmes, it's a hip. He's also in there getting an x-ray, trying to see if they'll be able to come. Right now, they're both questionable to return.
All right, thanks. So a hip and an x-ray for Wake Forest, and an already thin defense, thinned out even more with injury. A little bit of movement there on the left side.
A little bit of movement. Good thing there was.
Offense, number 60. It's a 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Good thing there was for Wake Forest, because Wake Forest did not have anyone covering Cooper Lutz as he motioned out of the backfield. You saw a lot of defenders pointing at him, saying, "You cover him, no, you cover him," and there's nobody out there.
So a bad break all around for Syracuse. You miss an opportunity for a big play, and you back up 5 yards.
They've gone to that man right there, Taj Harris, a few times in this situation. Just, you know, he looks like a pitcher right now, calling off the play, calling off the pitch. I don't know if he likes this call that they're sending him from the sidelines.
Syracuse calling a timeout on 3rd and 13. Need to convert on this play. Taj Harris just 2 catches for 9 yards on the day. Remember, he was suspended last week for their loss at Clemson. Back in the lineup today. Harris is a star for Syracuse offensively. Boogie Basham, big-time star for Wake Forest on their defensive front.
Yeah, that man right there, you know, he's been a little quiet today, but you know, he hasn't had a tackle for loss in the last 23 games coming into it, and he is just a force. We saw him set the edge a few times, but you know, he is so good at using his hands and his big body combined with the speed. You know, he is so mobile for a guy that weighs 290 pounds at 6'5", 290, and he is running guys down from behind. He's a guy that we will definitely see playing on Sundays next year, and he's trying to round out this this great Wake Forest career that he's had, you know, on a high note.
Number 14 on Todd McShay's latest big board as far as prospects, draft eligible prospects go. 3rd and 13 for the Orange. Culpepper. Design draw. Won't get the first down. Gets about half of the yards he needs.
Interesting. This might be 4-down territory as well. You know, you gotta get momentum going on your side, and this, to me, a quarterback draw on 3rd and long, that means you're setting up something else. If not, you're just settled to punt it.
Let's check this flag as Dino looks on, concerned.
Holding, offense number 60. It's a 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
And obviously, Coach Clausen feels the same way. They may go for it on 4th and 7, so he's going to back him up 10 yards and give him an extra down.
Yeah, you know, Clausen had the same mindset. Just, you know, you don't accept this holding penalty if you think the team's going to just punt it away. But 4th and 7, you know Dino Babers is aggressive, and you'd rather back him up and make it 3rd and a billion.
23, which is might as well be a billion when you think about it. Don't forget North Carolina, Virginia, really old ACC rivalry coming up. 8 o'clock tonight here. It's all presented by Geico on the ACC network. Syracuse going the wrong way due to penalties. Wake brings just 3. Still putting pressure on Culpepper. Runs out of it. Tries to sling it sidearm to his receiver, Quealy. Couldn't make it happen.
Yeah, now they are going to have to punt. Good stop by Wake Forest. You know, consistently, penalties have hurt Syracuse this entire year. Haven't gotten much going on the ground game. And when you're down this much, you know, that big 14-point swing, it forces you to throw a lot. And just tough day for Rex Culpepper in the pocket.
6th punt of the afternoon for Syracuse. Nolan Cooney averaging about 42.5 yards a kick. This is an end-over-end kick, but it's a good one. Let's see where the officials mark it. Might not be as good as I originally thought. Wake will take over from their own 29. Time for our Aflac trivia question. Aflac. Thank you. On Halloween in 1981, Wake Forest allowed the most points in ACC history. Who defeated the Demon Deacons and how many points did they score? That's a hard one because it's a two-parter there, Mark.
Wow, the most points allowed in ACC history. Well, we saw Clemson put up 73 points earlier this year, so it has to be more than that.
Has to be more than that.
I gotta say, I'm going 86 points. I have no idea who it was.
And are you going Clemson?
I guess that would make sense.
But is it too obvious? See, Clemson won the national title that year with Danny Ford and Homer Jordan, Harry Tuttle. Great team. So maybe it's too obvious, though.
Can't wait to find out.
Monty Kiffin was the head coach at NC State, so it probably wasn't then.
And you know what I learned about these Aflac trivia questions? I learn more about what you know and what you have in that big old brain of yours than I do from this actual trivia question.
So you're saying if it was Clemson, then we know Donald Igwebiki kicked a lot of extra points on that day.
It's ridiculous. You're a college
the answer
football
here in a little
Wikipedia.
bit. As Wake Forest is trying to run some clock as much as anything here and keep the chains moving, up 24. 3rd down and 3. This would be a nice opportunity for the Orange to get that offense back out there and see if they can dig into this disadvantage.
Wake Forest goes with the double check to the sideline. Aaron Rodgers would be happy.
Hartman to throw, steps up, tried to get underneath, falls incomplete. Morin was covered that time nicely by Amon Greenwood, who's pressed into action with all the injuries at safety for Syracuse, and he's played well today. Another flag on the field, though.
Pass interference, defense number 26. Automatic first
jinxed
down.
it. Talked him up, and then we find out he was guilty of interference.
Too soon, Chris. Just a little
Way
bit too
soon on that. Fresh set of downs for Wake Forest. Greenwood, yet another freshman that Babers is having to play. Redshirt freshman out of DC.
Babers with the medium mask on.
Fake to Beal Smith. Hartman again to throw. Can't connect with Morin. 2nd down. Greenwood with nice coverage on that play. As we said earlier, Mark, Syracuse is not afraid to blitz, but they got pressure without blitzing.
Yeah, they did, and we've seen that. Good to see right there. That's Terrell Richards back after we saw him banged up a little bit earlier, but a lot of it has come from Terrell Richards. He's playing that kind of that Sam linebacker position at 3-4. His opportunities to rush the passer.
Gruel on the catch. Not quite enough for a first down. 3rd down and 4.
And just, besides that one real long 80-yard touchdown pass, I keep saying it. This is a very young secondary for Syracuse, but they have played really well, and now they're going to be a situation where they're impressed man-to-man coverage versus a bunch set. Let's see what Wake decides to draw up.
On the field a lot, though, in this game. They bring pressure on 3rd down. Hartman slings it over the middle. That's complete to Morin. Now this is 2 straight 3rd downs that Wake Forest has been able to convert, keep the chains moving and keep the clock moving.
Yeah, really good catch by Morin. And watch Sam Hartman stand in this pocket. They bring everybody on the defensive side of the ball well picked up and able to find his wide receiver over the middle, and strong hands by Morin to bring that one down.
Hartman after the fake over the middle of Morin, and just can't quite catch this one.
Another flag, Chris.
Man, these flags, a lot of flags today.
Holding defense of an eligible pass receiver, number 26 of the defense. 10-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Caught Greenwood again. He must feel like every official is just looking at him. Now having a word with Babers.
And Greenwood's in. Trill Williams, the usual starting free safety, is out, and Greenwood's in. Played the last couple of weeks, pretty good outings and performances, but only a redshirt freshman, younger guy, and he's going against Taylor Morin, who's a really quick slot receiver.
So the drive continues. 1st and 10 from the 35. Beal Smith trying to find an opening, cannot, and then knifing in to make the tackle is Lee Koba.
The best linebacker play I've seen all day from this Syracuse team. Lee Koba sees the ball carrier and fires downhill. I think if there's one thing that this Syracuse defense lacks, it's at that linebacker position coming downhill. It did better last week, and Koba showed there he can do it as well.
Hartman, now the pressure swallows him up. Flag down right where Hartman went down, but Poga again.
Yeah, Koba again. True sophomore out of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. So
personal foul, illegal use of hands to the face, defense number 21. It's 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
Now it's your turn. Talk up a guy and gets the illegal hands to the face.
All right, let's pick this one apart. Right there, it's where he extends at the end. That first little bump in the face mask isn't going to do it, but when you pick the face mask up and drive the guy back, that'll be called. And that was a good call.
These penalties are killing Syracuse on this drive. 7 penalties for the game, but 3 of them on this drive alone, really extending it and helping Wake Forest chew up clock and move the ball down the field.
Yeah, and 2 of them have been penalties that resulted in first downs.
Walker. Dances his way for a couple. Yeah, on this drive alone, 3 penalties for 31 yards. And Mark, to your point, two first downs. This defense cannot get off the field.
Can't get off the field, and they do not have a lot of backups. So these guys are sucking wind right now. You'd be surprised to see a shot at some point on the outside.
Walker. Another flag. Well, this is a Wake Forest team who was one of the least penalized teams in all of college football over the last 3 years.
Holding offense number 55. It's a 10-yard penalty, second down.
Only Navy and Minnesota, Mark, over the last 3 years have had fewer penalties per game in the FBS. And you think about how fewer plays that Navy has in every one of their games.
Yeah, you saw Kingsley Jonathan just be kind of thrown to the ground by Michael Juergens, the offensive center. I mean, these are all good calls. I mean, they're calls that the flag should be thrown. It's just a lot of penalties out there on this drive.
So the Deacs now in a little bit of a hole after their 4th penalty on the game. 2nd down and 18. Hartman has time, has a receiver inside the 15, inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal for the Deacs after Donovan Green comes down with it and picks up good yardage after the catch.
Yeah, good job by Donovan Green. See him on the outside, top of the screen. It's a good job stemming it upfield, and you see him drop his hips and his head down to the ground as he cuts back. I mean, that's perfectly taught by these wide receiver coaches on Wake Forest and perfectly ran by Donovan Green. Really good route, good connection with Sam Hartman.
Penalties aside for both teams, Wake Forest doing a nice job of mixing up the run and the pass. Walker on the direct snap. Just tries to feel his way inside, gets maybe 3 yards down to the 5.
You see a lot of teams utilize the Wildcat that really got popular, like, what, 15 years ago, Chris? I know you probably know the exact date and time of day. That
I feel like it was Cadillac
popular.
Williams for Auburn who kind of made that. Maybe it wasn't.
No,
you think I'm right on that?
That's about the right time frame. And,
yeah.
But the way that Wake Forest utilizes it, I think, is really, really dynamic.
Walker cuts it back inside. Will he get to the end zone? He will. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the day. And Wake Forest now finishes off a long, time-consuming drive by hitting pay dirt.
Wow, well, it's tough to bring down Kenneth Walker. I think that's been shown very well today, but watch as he is able to follow his blockers, and that is a one-on-one tackle with Mikel Jones in the hole. Mikel Jones, 6'1", 230 pounds, trying to tackle Kenneth Walker, who's 5'10", 206. And Kenneth Walker got the best of that one, just lowered his shoulder, barreled through, and rolled into the end zone for another touchdown.
Skiba hits the PAT, 38-7. Wake Forest now really putting the screws to Syracuse and extending their lead. Want to get the answer to Aflac here while we got a minute?
Yes, please.
1981, Wake Forest gave up the most points in ACC history. Who won that game against the Demon Deacons, and what was the score? You guessed Clemson in '86, I think. Not bad. Look at that. Very close. Danny Ford and company on their way to beating Nebraska in the Orange Bowl and winning the national title. 82 points.
That would not feel good.
You know who was coaching that Wake Forest team?
I do not. Do you? I bet you do.
Al Groh, I think, was the coach of that team.
Al Groh actually recruited me when he was at Virginia. He's a good coach. Wow, look at those big margins of victories.
I mean, a lot of them recent too. 2015, 2018, won this year against Georgia Tech.
They are
aren't putting up points like that today, yeah.
20-28. Boston College still has the lead, although Clemson has battled back and after the half.
Yeah, Clemson's fighting back. They had a costly turnover as Etienne was about to put it into the end zone. He fumbles it, and Sebastian, the defensive back for BC, took it the distance, 96 yards. What a huge turnaround that was. Let's see if Pena can make something happen here for Syracuse. No. Tackle, very good tackle on the 20-yard line. The Orange will take over there. Jalen Hudson with a nice tackle. Clemson in trouble right now at home against BC, and we've got Notre Dame and Clemson coming up as maybe a preview for the ACC championship, which earlier this weekend was announced that it will be on the 19th. There was some discussion as to whether we would have it on the 12th or the 19th. Having to push so many games back, Mark, I think the better judgment was to just let's go ahead and say we're going to have it on the 19th in Charlotte. And it all certainly pointed toward Clemson and Notre Dame, a rematch in their regular season game. But now that might not necessarily be the case. I mean, think about it. If Clemson loses today to BC and then loses to Notre Dame, could have a Notre Dame North Carolina or a Notre Dame Wake Forest ACC championship, because with Wake Forest they have 2 losses coming into this one, and they're on their way to keeping that mark in the loss column. I think 2 losses is kind of the Mendoza line, don't you?
Yeah, I think so, especially with just the way that the rest of the ACC is shaped up. And I mean, I think especially when you still have undefeated teams. When you have 2 undefeated teams, 2 losses seems like a big. Oh, I think that's ball's out. I think
it is live. There's no whistle. That is a fumble picked up by Wake Forest. DJ Taylor picked up the fumble, and Rex Culpepper can't believe it. He thinks that's a pass. Obviously, we'll review this one. Nice job by DJ Taylor to pick up the fumble until he heard the whistle.
Forward pass.
The whistle just, maybe we just didn't hear it, Mark.
Yeah, I don't think we did.
Ruling on the field is an incomplete pass.
Intentional grounding, offense number 17. So lots of down at the spot of the foul, 3rd down.
He might have even been down, but at either rate, he's down there anyways with the loss of down.
Yep. And better than a turnover, obviously, but not the play result you would
play is under further review.
Yeah, while they're reviewing this to see whether the arm was going forward, I think it was. We'll take a look at it. As will referee Mike Roach. Going to have a conversation with Tom DeJoseph, our replay official. Let's see if the arm's going forward.
They'll also review if this knee hits down before the pass is made, but looks like the ball's out. The arm is going forward, although obviously where his body is facing, it's kind of going backwards, but I think everybody understands that it's towards the line of scrimmage and past it. So I think that call is a good call by the officials.
He's still in the tackle box too, so even if the ball got to the line of scrimmage, Mark, that would be intentional grounding.
Confirmed. It'll be 3rd down.
Yeah, intentional grounding, the call on an incomplete pass, irrelevant. It was a forward pass, so intentional grounding and not a fumble.
And just to get back to the ACC standings, we're talking about a couple undefeated teams right now, and you know, I think anything below that 2-loss mark, you're kind of out of it at this point. And I think that the ACC in general has closed the gap a little bit between the rest of the field and Clemson, and obviously adding Notre Dame for this season has been beneficial to that. But watching UNC play, they've been playing really good football. Boston College is playing some really good football, and Wake Forest is as well.
Yeah, Wake Forest finishes the season against Notre Dame, Mark. So, you want to stay in that 2-loss area if you're Wake Forest, and maybe something happens. Maybe you get an opportunity, you pull the upset against Notre Dame, and you're in. Now bringing pressure. Culpepper lets it fly, trying to get his receiver Harris to make a play on the ball. Just an inaccurate throw and good coverage on the outside by Wake Forest.
And Harris is frustrated. He wants that ball out in front of him, let him kind of run under it with his speed, but it's been kind of the day it's been going for Rex Culpepper and Taj Harris. Haven't been able to hook up on kind of the normal completions that Taj Harris is used to.
Moore back to receive this punt. High kick from Cooney. Morin makes the fair catch at his own 25. Wake Forest will take back over from that spot. Just look at the ACC standings. You mentioned, this Mendoza line, if you will, right now, a little past the halfway point of the season. 2 losses, probably keeps you in it. Wake Forest has the win over Virginia Tech. I think the hope with your 2-loss team, Mark, is that you get involved in a big tiebreaker scenario that somehow lets you in.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And then you also hope that either Clemson or Notre Dame loses. And Clemson just drove down the field and scored another touchdown, but went for 2 points and did not make it. So it's currently 26-28. Boston College is still on top. And I mean, if Clemson loses, I mean, all bets are off. You have 2 losses, you're right in it.
Hartman, he chucks it. No one was anywhere in the area. Now, was he outside the tackle box, or will we see a flag come in here? Good pressure by Stephon Thompson. He's showing the officials where there was a player. That's what you always see in a situation like that, don't you, Mark?
Yeah.
Offense number 10.
And then he's smiling like he's pointing at the bench. Look, the backup receiver was right near me.
Yeah, what area is he pointing to? Albany?
I don't know.
Over there, I had a receiver on the field.
Yeah.
There was nobody anywhere close to where he threw that football.
No, but look, he's saying, look, I threw to Dave Clawson. He's right there on the sideline, my head coach.
That's great. I love how on every play they point, every single time. Intentional grounding now going against Wake Forest. Christian Beal-Smith crashing the right side of that line. Give him about 6 or 7. Bring it 3rd down and long.
Beal-Smith, I mean, just anytime he turns his shoulders upfield and brings them parallel to the line of scrimmage, he's going to gain 1 or 2 extra yards. He's so compact and strong. He said that, coach said that, I think he has progressed probably better than anyone in this offseason, and he's really worked at his craft and studied his game throughout this pandemic and much improved.
Syracuse bringing pressure. Could be a free play. Hartman gets his receiver Morin. Looks like that might be enough for the first down. Let's check the flag first. Syracuse is bringing the heat. Just looked like a couple of players got there early.
Defense number 97. The penalties decline. The result of the play is a first down.
And Cody Roscoe was a little bit overeager.
Deacons first down from the 35-yard line.
Well, if you're Syracuse defensively, Mark, you're going to have to take a bunch of chances. Down 31 points. You got to get that football back to your offense.
Yeah, you got to bring pressure a lot. Run pressures, pass pressures. Just you got to get loss of yards, but it's tough against guys like that.
Look at the patience, too, with this run from Christian Beal-Smith. Just waiting for the blockers to develop and to give him that alley.
Well, it's interesting. We talk about Syracuse running a 3-3-5 defense. So, the idea is you play a lot of spread offenses in the ACC, and so you want to have some faster linebackers and extra defensive back on the field. But the problem is when there's a change-up week and you're playing a team like Wake Forest that is so good on the ground, you have to bring these linebackers into the box. And there's a lot of times these linebackers, they're 220, 230, just don't match up well against the big offensive linemen, and big holes are created.
Christian Beal-Smith.
That's going to be a holding call.
Might be a face mask, too. You see he's
dragging him down by his head.
Offense number 59. It's a 10-yard penalty. We play first down.
You saw Naya's teammates giving him a hug there. I think everybody saw that.
Yeah. It's a good try. You see 59 pulling around, and watch 19. That's obvious.
That's great.
That's obvious. Oh, man. Well,
letting that clock run. You see Coach Clawson telling his team, let's just let this third quarter clock run all the way down, and making sure he wasn't going to get called for a delay penalty, as it just about matches up with the play clock. Why run an extra play when you don't have to? And it looks like Clawson and Wake Forest won't have to here in the third quarter. Fruitful quarter for the Demon Deacs, extending their lead. They're up 31 as we head to the fourth.
Out here with your studio update. Clemson trailed this one by as much as 18, but they would come storming back. DJ Uiagalelei finds Amari Rogers. The 2-point conversion would fail, but they trail now by 2. Watch out, though. BC back in Clemson territory. Chris, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan. 16 straight points for Clemson, so that game over on ABC is late third quarter. Still plenty of time for Clemson. Uiagalelei's actually had a pretty good game, over 300 yards in Trevor Lawrence's stead. Lawrence testing positive for COVID earlier on in the week, so he's going to have to sit out at least this game. And as we showed you earlier, Mark, Notre Dame looms next week for Clemson. So maybe not a terrible thing if they could somehow find a way to win this game at home, if they get pushed all the way through the fourth quarter today.
Yeah, well, I think it's interesting. They felt a little bit of that close game last week versus Syracuse, who made it a really close game, a one-score game until late in the third quarter, and then Clemson really battled back and showed their prowess. And same type of thing right now, and we'll see if they're able to have another bounce-back fourth quarter. But if not, I mean, how much more important for Clemson will that game be versus Notre Dame? Not just in terms of national championship implications, but ACC championship implications.
Yeah, no question. Kelsey, what do you got?
Well, you just mentioned that they played Syracuse last week, Mark, and it just got me thinking about us talking with Dino Babers this week and him saying how tough it is coming off a game like that, because when you play Clemson, you're playing to win. You're going all in, and it is so physical on your body. And we asked him, what's it like? Can you give the guys an extra day off? And he says, no, with a team like this, they're so young. There's no way you can do that. So he was interested to see how his team responds this week, just because you go play a team like Clemson, the #1 team in the country, and you keep it tight for 3 quarters, and there's definitely some positives you take away from that. But Chris and Mark, then here we are now.
Yeah, and where we are is 4th down for Wake Forest, and an injury for Syracuse as Wake was trying to go quickly, trying to convert it. Terrell Richards again banged up, gets up under his own power. Looks to the sideline. Should I stay in? I got to go out.
Timeout for an injury, timeout.
Yep, if it's an injury timeout, he's got to come out for a play. That's what the line judge is telling him right now.
You know what that is right there? That's a veteran move. That means you go down and say you're hurt, so you don't allow the other team to run up to the line of scrimmage and snap the ball quickly. I think you gotta see. Look, he kind of sees
cramp.
Wake Forest going fast. That's not a cramp. That's a fake out.
Well, whatever it was, he's going to call it a cramp.
Yeah, he is.
Now it just got better, though. Without an IV or anything.
We had one time, I was playing for the New York Giants, where we were playing somebody, and a bunch of rookies on the field, and someone said go down, and about 3 of the rookies dropped to the ground, faked an injury at the same time. It was...
You don't have a designated go down guy?
Well, there was 2 of those on the field at that time, and 2 guys went down. It was not smooth. Not smooth at all.
It's certainly been a point of discussion in college football for a number of years since these teams started to speed up play as a tried and true method to stop tempo or to slow it down. Hartman brings his team up to the line, already leading by 31 here early fourth quarter. Looking to convert on this 4th down and burn even more clock. More than happy to let that play clock wind down. Looks to the sideline. Now he's just going to go for it on a quick snap, and he'll pick up the 1st down. Sunday Best tomorrow. We're going to feature field hockey. Mark loves field hockey, and every week I say tune into the ACC Network, because we always start Sunday Best with field hockey at noon, followed by a women's soccer triple header. Virginia Tech, BC, then 5th-ranked Duke squares off against Miami. Then, this is a big one here, #1 North Carolina, #13 Notre Dame in Chapel Hill. Our Sunday Best right here on the ACC Network and on the ESPN app.
I do love field hockey, Chris. My mom played field hockey in college and coached field hockey at the college level when I was growing up, so a lot of appreciation for the sport.
Christian Beal-Smith just met and buried in the backfield. Stephon Thompson, true freshman.
tackle by Stephon Thompson, true freshman. Got a lot of playing time today. He was the week 1 starter, actually, and then Tyrell Richards, number 42, who we've seen a bunch, who just left the game for supposed injury.
Got some kids from North Carolina on the Syracuse team. Thompson's from Charlotte. I mentioned Lee Koba a bunch. He's from Winston-Salem. Obviously, this game has a little more meaning to them, and they probably know a lot of the cats over there on the other side of the ball. Gary Williams is from Harrisburg, North Carolina. He's made some plays today from that corner spot.
Gain is to the 34-yard line, brings up a 4th down and 6.
3rd down and about 5, a long 5 for Wake Forest. Don't forget our primetime matchup presented by Geico on the ACC Network, UNC and Virginia. They'll kick at about 8 o'clock. Hartman more than content to let that play clock just tick on down. I'd be surprised if he snaps that thing. Yeah, I'd be surprised if Hartman snaps that thing outside of 10 seconds for the rest of the game. Incomplete to Moore, and no, that'll stop the clock. And it'll bring up 4th down.
We got 4th down, and Sam Hartman's looking like he might stay out in the field. It's in that in-between situation where do we throw Skeeb out there, try to kick a long field goal, or keep Hartman on the field? And so far, anytime it's been 50 plus, which this would be 51-yard field goal, they do not send their kicker out.
Look like some movement, but no flags right now. And a receiver open in the end zone. That's Morin. It just held up enough for Williams to come back and make the play and prevent Morin from bringing down what would have been a huge play.
Yeah, big recovery on that one by Garrett Williams, because he did get beat initially. The ball was a little bit underthrown, and really good job getting his hand up in there, and it will be Syracuse ball when we come back.
Something to believe. ESPN, home of the college football playoff.
Our score 38-7, Wake Forest on top of Syracuse, along with Mark Hertzlick and Kelsey Riggs down on the field. I'm Chris Cotter. Syracuse now trying to make something happen offensively. See if they can get a couple of quick scores and somehow fight their way back into this thing. Tight end Aaron Hackett on the receiving end, just his 5th catch of the year. Had 6 touchdowns last year, just 1 so far in 2020. Full wholesale changes here for Wake Forest defensively.
Yeah, they brought everyone in. Really a no running back set. You got 4 wide receivers and a tight end on the field. This is their rush defense.
And that's intercepted. Picked off by Trey Rucker.
Well,
so the woes continue for this Syracuse offense.
The pass was, I think, thrown pretty high. Let's see how the release comes out. He checks his first read, second read. Had to throw it over the hands of Suleiman Kamara. And Culpepper knows it. Looks like he expected a different route from the wide receiver. The wide receiver cut the route off a little bit short, but I mean, it's been a tough day for Syracuse on the offensive front, defensive front. Your defense has played well at times, but they are just unable to continue their momentum and their push where they've been on the field so much of this game. There's 3 turnovers that Syracuse has given up.
Just about 140 yards of total offense for this Syracuse offense, and much of that was in that first half. Culpepper's really struggled here in the second. That could be a face mask if the flag comes in. It does not. You saw Clausen at the top of your screen. He wanted one, didn't get the call. New quarterback in for Wake Forest, Michael Kern, young man out of Orlando. Was able to take a red shirt last year, red shirt freshman. Just look at him, he's gotten a little bit of time this year. So Hartman's day looks like it is done. Successful day in forging this lead. Now we got a little bit more movement for Wake Forest.
False start. Offense, number 71. It's a 5-yard penalty, second down.
C.J. Elmanus, backup left tackle. So Coach Clausen getting some second-string players into the game now here in the fourth quarter. Uncharacteristically, seventh penalty of the game for Wake Forest. Sorry, Mark.
You know, even though the backups are in, Clausen wants these guys to perform like, you know, it's 0-0. When it's your opportunity to go in as a backup, you're putting stuff on film, and we need to put on film good things so the coaches have confidence in you when your time is called.
Justice Ellison, true freshman back out of Oakton, Virginia, with the carry for Wake. Injury on the field, Syracuse player down. We'll be back to check on his condition when we come back. Sam Hartman, all smiles, Wake Forest with the lead. Herzlich, Riggs, and Cotter here at the Carrier Dome. Demon Deacons in control, 38-7 in the fourth quarter. Happy Halloween to everybody out there. I got the bucket of candy ready to hand out.
Oh my, Chris.
That was me last year. That's
is a hot dog.
It's more like a Vienna sausage costume. It really did not fit very well. The Herzlich family takes Halloween very seriously,
yeah, we
folks.
do. We do. That was that was a fun night. We were at the Heidi Klum Halloween party in New York City.
Wow,
there.
dropping some names, dropping some celebrity names. Of course you were.
Yep. But and I was with Danielle Herzlich, which is another name drop. My beautiful wife, who looked like
very
a dead
famous
person. That was fun.
I was at the Christopher and Carolyn Cotter Halloween party. My parents.
I heard those are good.
Georgia.
I heard those are big time.
Yeah. That's why I was also wearing my nephew's
extra costumes. Yeah.
My 12-year-old nephew's hot dog costume that he didn't want to wear. Took both of my parents to help me get it off.
So I wasn't going to share this, but during the last break, I did sneak some Halloween candy. I got a nice Reese's cup and got a little more energy for this.
Danielle in Boston, you guys will be out to the wee hours of the night as Kern fakes the handoff and he'll take the sack. What about Kelsey? Did she skip out on all this?
Oh,
there's Kelsey on the left, the pumpkin.
Listen, guys, I had to go old school. I'm trunk or treating.
Yes.
That's my sister and my cousin just hanging out.
Nice.
I'm glad that you guys are at home enjoying Halloween candy. I'm standing here on the sidelines wishing that I had a Butterfinger right now.
Like you don't have snacks with you. Let's be honest.
Did you just call me out like that? Is it happening? I don't have any Halloween snacks. I have snacks.
Well, arguably on Halloween, every snack is a Halloween snack, so maybe you do have
That is very true.
Well, thank you.
Mora takes the high snap and just gets it off. Heavy rush from the Qs. Johnson will make a fair catch inside his 20. Now, we told you how seriously the Herzlichs take Halloween. That was just 1 year. That was the Heidi Klum party.
Oh, yes.
Let's go all the way back. This is when it all began for you, isn't it?
Yes, little cowboy. Then dressed up. Oh, my favorite play, Cats. This is when it got strange.
Yeah, right. You still wear that shirt, though, to the gym every week.
I do. This might have been the best of all time. Daddy Warbucks and Annie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was good. Blue Man Group.
Blue Man Group. Yeah, great.
This
There's
was last
Boston.
year. Yep, we got big into Baby Shark around our household, and Baby Shark, do, Baby Shark.
Yes, you sang that all year last year. New quarterback for Syracuse. As he hands off to Cooper Lutz, Jacoby and Morgan, true freshman, who is quite the physical specimen, 6'4", 205 pounds, young man out of Mississippi.
7-yard pickup, second down and 3.
And you know when he comes into the game. Just tall figure in that shotgun. There's his arm out to the outside. Courtney Jackson.
Jacoby Morgan's pass is complete. On the reception,
I'll tell you what, this last 6 minutes and 50 seconds of the game is so important for Jacoby Morgan, because if he can put a drive together down the field, like there could be a real argument that he could potentially start next week. And Syracuse is going to have to face Boston College next week, who, you know, they're playing Clemson today. They're going to be a little bit banged up, but they're going to be coming off a little of that Clemson momentum that Syracuse tried to harness today.
DJ Taylor on the stop. Couple of completions in a row from Morgan. Hitting Courtney Jackson.
DJ Taylor. Second and 5.
Give to Lutz. He's got a lot of room midfield, and Moore evades a tackler down to the 40. Big run by Lutz as he closes in on 100 yards for the day.
If you look at bright spots, you definitely got to look at number 24. Cooper Lutz has definitely been a bright spot for this Syracuse offense. He's forced a lot of missed tackles and been productive on the ground and through the air. So I wouldn't be surprised even when Sean Tucker does come back to see a little more 24 sprinkled into the game.
14 carries for 88 yards for Lutz. Morgan hits Harris, short gain. Both these two backup quarterbacks for Syracuse, these freshmen, Dylan Markowitz and Jacoby and Morgan, 6'5" and 6'4" respectively.
Yeah, they're both big players. They're both really into learning this game. And when we talked to Dino Babers about these two, he said, look, both of them are so into the playbook, so into the study that we really feel confident with them. But you never want to have a true freshman quarterback go out there. But Jacoby Morgan's been looking pretty good on this drive.
Yeah, his response when I asked him, what's your strategy to try and get these two freshmen some playing time, especially because you officially don't lose a year by playing any amount of time this year. And his answer was, my strategy is hopefully never. I hope I never have to use them, and we can just go with our starters, and we're going to have success and win with that. But this is certainly part of the future of this Syracuse Orange football team here. Morgan out of the pocket, shows his mobility, hits his receiver inside the 10, and that's Johnson all the way down inside the 5. Passing across his body to Mark.
Yeah, that's a hard pass to make as you're rolling out to your left. Just avoiding the pressure, understands that his pocket's collapsing and throwing it downfield, keeping his eyes up, and it's an impressive drive so far.
Quealy trying to get into the end zone, and just stopped shy. We'll bring up second down and goal from the 1.
He might have fumbled that ball out of bounds before he went down, but
let's see where the officials put it.
See at the end, Nick Anderson is the guy coming in, possibly jarring the ball loose. See, he extends it for the end zone. Looks like Nick Anderson popped it out. I think they ruled him down by contact because they placed it at the 1 yard line.
Give to Lutz, read perfectly by this Wake Forest defense. Shamar McCollum leading a group of Demon Deacon tacklers for the 1 yard loss. 3rd and goal.
Yeah, and he got stood up in that hole. Good hit by the Demon Deacons. And if I'm Sterling Gilbert, offensive coordinator for Syracuse right now, I'm trying to find out what Jacoby Morgan can do. I'm putting the ball in his hands. I'm letting him make some decisions, possibly roll him outside the pocket. But I want him to have this pressure on 3rd and goal and see what he can do with it.
10th play of this drive that started on the Orange 20-yard line. Morgan throws it into the end zone. It's his tight end for the score, Luke Benson. Morgan's first touchdown pass of his career and Benson's first touchdown catch of the season. So a good look at Jacoby and Morgan, the true freshman, out of Canton, Mississippi on that 80-yard drive.
Yeah, good job just using his height. See that 6'3", 6'4" frame, just looking right over the defense and finding his big tight end. That's one of the problems that shorter quarterbacks have, is finding their big targets over the middle, but he did a good job of hitting the guy for a touchdown. An impressive drive by Jacoby and Morgan in the Syracuse offense late in the game.
Andre Schmidt with the extra point. Morgan, an impressive drive as he leads the Orange down the field, finishes it off with a pass to Luke Benson. (38-14) our score in the Carrier Dome. True freshman Jacoby and Morgan accepting the congratulations of his teammates. First career touchdown pass as a member of the Syracuse Orange. Orange fans certainly hope it's the first of many to come.
Wake Forest takes its first time out of the half.
Few minutes of this game, we're going to get an opportunity to see all kinds of things happen, like an onside kick, and Wake Forest with the very unusual call of calling a timeout while receiving a kick. But Coach Clausen wanted to make sure they were ready for it. That's got something that I would think the special teams coach, like, if you're Wake Forest, you have to be ready for it. For how many times during the season you might be in that situation that you don't have a timeout left to call, or you certainly don't want to burn one.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared that a team that's down 21 points or whatever it is, 24 points, is going to try an onside kick.
Yeah, and Andrew Smith, he kind of laid the ball on his side to do like a squib kick like that.
Right there,
and
like super toe.
Yeah, so I think what Wake Forest is like, look, he's obviously going to kick it to our right side of a formation, so let's overload it a little bit. And
they still don't know exactly what they're doing. Yeah, bringing the player in.
I would say that open gap there.
And Schmidt is the one kicking the onside kick, but it's got to go 10 yards, and it goes out of bounds before it gets 10 yards. And now we've got some pushing and shoving over on the Wake Forest bench. Syracuse player down deep. He'll get out all right.
Yeah, interesting play last week. Wake Forest faced a onside kick and called a fair catch on it, which is a new rule. You can call a fair catch on one hop.
On the kicking team, ball will be placed 5 yards from the out-of-bounds spot. It'll be Wake Forest ball, first down.
Demon Deacs take over with a sizable lead here in the fourth. We'll be back after this to wrap things up from the Carrier Dome.
Don't forget to vote on Election Day, November 3rd. For more information, visit IamAvoter.com.
Coach Clausen, Wake Forest taking over. 3:11 left to go in this contest. Game they pretty much salted away in the third quarter with a dominant performance and a couple of big plays. Give to Ellison with that long mesh. Mark, even the backups have got that delayed mesh down with this Wake Forest offense.
Yeah, they do. And you see Mitch Griffithson now, the third string quarterback, getting some action, true freshman out of Virginia. And, just it's this offense, it's the style of offense, it's the way it works. And in order to play in this offense, you got to be able to do it. And really, we've seen all three quarterbacks execute it pretty well. And obviously, Kenneth Walker and Christian Beal-Smith are kind of game changers when it comes to running this and finding the open gaps.
Babers called it molasses mesh. Hold it as long as you can, and then Ellison takes it. Tries to find a crease, but can't find much room to roam there. Terrell Richards leading the charge for Syracuse. Caleb Okachukwu also on the stop.
1 yard gain to the 33-yard line.
It's a Wake Forest team, Mark, that, as we said at the top of the broadcast, with just 2 losses in conference play, just hoping to keep their dreams alive of playing in that ACC championship game in Charlotte on December 19th. Win here on the road, certainly their 4th in a row, would go a long way. Now the schedule doesn't get any easier. At North Carolina, they still have Miami left on the schedule. They're at Louisville, and then they finish up with a home game against Notre Dame at Truist Stadium on now scheduled for the 12th of December.
Yeah,
you can see what's coming up.
It's not easy coming up, but at least they have Clemson in their rearview mirror. They got the honor of playing Clemson in their first time out, and obviously suffered a loss. But kind of as you look, if they beat some of those teams, you drop Miami, you drop North Carolina to 2-loss, and so the importance of those games becomes even more drastic, and they're right there in it.
Griffiths takes a pop, hangs on. Boogie Basham chilling. First time in 26 games? Not 23 straight games. He had 23 straight games coming in with a TFL. Didn't pick one up today, Mark.
Yeah, no, he didn't pick one up. I think that's one of those statistics that statisticians find out and then they harp on. But I think as a player, you only allow 14 points as a defender, and you're pretty happy.
Doesn't seem to bother.
No, it doesn't bother him. He didn't have any tackles today. You're probably shut out in the stat sheet, but we saw a couple plays where he set the edge well. He got some pressure on the quarterback, but wins make up for a lot, and I think that's what Dave Clawson has instilled in his team. Like, look, this is a team game. Wins count so much more than you can extending your tackle for loss streak.
Coach Clawson hands the headset over to his assistant, as they'll have one final play left to run. Ellison picks up about 5 yards, and that'll be it. Clawson will make his way to midfield. He and Dino Babers will chat momentarily. And then Wake Forest, as I mentioned, with their 4th win in a row. And we'll head back to Winston-Salem right now with a lot of momentum, with some opponents, Mark, on Tobacco Road, most specifically North Carolina, coming up next. 38-14, our final score. Wake Forest on the road took control early, held on, and then extended their lead in the second half for the big W. Let's send it to the studio now. Jordan Cornette and company with more on what's happening today in the ACC.